Hey everyone, tonight we'll delve into the truth behind the god who ruled the silent majority of existence, and why he was secretly the most respected deity in all of Greek mythology. Begins not with a war or a betrayal, but with a quiet prophecy whispered in a damp cave. When the living outnumbered the dead, the world will forget its foundations. You can almost hear it now. The distant rhythmic crash of Aegean. Waves on a rocky shore, the faint desperate clang of a temple bell, tolling for a soul that refuses to depart, the grating rasp of iron shovels on stone, as another grave is dug in parched earth. Oaths are being whispered in the twilight, but they are hollow, breaking against a sky of brass. You probably won't want to believe what you are about to hear, because it challenges everything we think we know about justice, power, and the Lord of the Final Kingdom. So, before the tension gets too high, take a moment to like the episode and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. I love seeing where these stories reach, so feel free to post your city or country and the local time in the comments. It is a powerful reminder that these myths connect us all across the globe. Now close your eyes, imagine the ancient mountains, and let's unravel this epic tale together. You are a pilgrim, but your pilgrimage is born not of faith, but of desperation. The world around you is sick. Gray, breathless plague has descended upon the cities and fields. A spiritual malady that clings to the soul and leaves the body an empty, waiting vessel. The afflicted do not die. They linger, their eyes vacant, their breath shallow, caught in a terrible limbo between worlds. The pyres burn low, but the shades of the sick remain tethered to their flesh, a constant, silent army of the undeparted. A testament to a fundamental law of the cosmos that has been irrevocably broken. The living are beginning to outnumber the dead, and the natural cycle of renewal has ground to a halt. The oracles have fallen silent. At the great navel of the world, where the priestess once sat upon a tripod breathing the sacred fumes that rose from a chasm, in the earth to speak the will of the gods, there is now only a cold, earthy vapor. She gibbers madly, her prophecies nothing but shattered fragments of a divine connection now lost. The gods of Olympus, it seems, have turned their backs. We hear stories of their feasts of ambrosia and nectar flowing freely on their sun-drenched peak. But down here, in the mortal coil, the balance is lost. The age of heroes is a distant memory. Their glorious deeds are now just Norse legends of another culture, tales told to frighten children into obedience. A stark contrast to the grim reality you face. This journey will take you deep into the heart of Greek mythology, far beyond the popular tales of flashy deities and their often petty squabbles. This is about the ancient mysteries, the unseen gears of the universe. In the hushed halls of the temples, the priests are afraid to even speak the name of the one god who might hold the answer. They refer to him with euphemisms. Plauton, the wealthy one; Bulius, the good counselor, but never his true name. To speak the name Hades aloud is to invite his attention. And in a world where death itself is broken, no one dares to draw the gaze of the unseen one. His very name is a powerful taboo, a rule of mortal fear observed for centuries, for it was believed that uttering it could hasten one's own demise. But fear is a luxury you can no longer afford. While the Olympians ignore the world's plight, it is the Lord of the Underworld who governs the very principle that has failed. You have left the city behind, its air thick with unspoken grief and the smell of stagnant life. You walk toward the wild places, the untamed mountains, where the borders between worlds are said to be thin. You follow a rumor, a fragment of folk wisdom passed down from a time before Zeus reigned. A whisper about a forgotten shrine where one can swear an oath so binding, it forces a god's attention. An oath cut in blood and will, a promise that must be answered. The sun sets, and the world is painted in shades of violet and gray. You arrive at the foot of a jagged black mountain. Here, nestled in a grove of skeletal cypress trees, is the place. It is no grand temple, but a simple, ancient stone altar, slick with moss and time, etched with spiraling symbols that predate the Olympian pantheon. This is a place of primal power, a place for binding promises. You can feel it in the cold air, in the unnerving silence that seems to swallow all sound. You know what you must do? You must swear an oath directly to the king of the underworld, a vow that will either summon his aid or seal your doom. The words form on your lips, heavy and final as stone. But as you prepare to speak, a chilling question surfaces. What is the true price of forcing the attention of a god who deals only in absolutes? The cold from the moss-covered altar seems to seep into your bones, a damp chill that has nothing to do with the night air. This is a cold from deep within the earth, a cold of finality. You draw a small, sharp knife of obsidian, its edge a sliver of volcanic glass, black and unforgiving. Metal feels wrong here. Iron is the tool of men and the stuff of modern gods. Now, this place demands something older, something born of the planet's fire and pressure. Now, press the blade to your palm, not with hesitation, but with the grim resolve of one who has already lost everything that matters. The cut is clean, a deep red line blooming against your skin. Oaths live in the cut. This is a truth whispered by the old ones, a principle that predates even the Titans. A spoken word is air, but a vow sealed in blood becomes a part of the world's body, a debt etched into the ledger of existence. You extend your hand over the stone. The first drop of blood falls, and it does not spatter, vanishes. The mossy surface of the altar seems to drink it in, a thirsty, porous darkness that leaves no stain. You let more fall, watching as the liquid is consumed by the ancient rock. Then, something extraordinary happens. The spiraling pre-Olympian glyphs carved into the stone begin to glow, not with warmth or light, but with a vibrant, absorbing blackness, a kind of anti-light that makes the surrounding twilight seem brighter by comparison. The air grows heavy, thick with the scent of wet soil, ozone, and something else. The metallic tang of shed blood from 1,000 other desperate vows made in this very spot across forgotten millennia. You find your voice, and it is steady, honed by despair into a fine point. You speak the oath not as a plea, but as a binding declaration, invoking the ancient laws of exchange. To the King of the Unseen, Lord of the Final Realm and Keeper of the Unspoken Balance, you begin. Your voice the only sound in the oppressive silence. To Hades, who reigns where all paths end. I, a mortal with no name you would know, stand witness to a broken world. The cycle is shattered. Life clings where it should release, and the soil is barren of the departed. I seek not riches, nor glory, nor a return for those I have lost. I seek to understand why the laws of passage have failed. You press your bleeding palm flat against the glowing black glyphs. The cold is a shock, a profound and absolute absence of heat that feels like a direct touch from the void. I swear by this blood, by the earth beneath my feet, and by my own soul's eventual passage into your realm, that my purpose is pure. I will journey to your gates and hear the truth from your own lips. I bind myself to this quest. If I stray, if my heart carries deceit, may my shade be scattered to the winds, nameless and unremembered for all eternity. This is the old way. The historical practice of Horkos, where you offer your own spirit as collateral, a self-curse that gives the oath its terrible power. The chthonic deities do not respond to prayers, they respond to contracts. The moment the last word leaves your lips, the black glow in the sigils intensifies for a heartbeat and then vanishes completely. The altar is once again just a mossy, inert stone, but the world is different. The oppressive silence is broken by a low, resonant hum that seems to emanate from the ground itself. It is a vibration you feel more than hear, a call from deep within the mountain. Before you, where there was only a sheer rock face, a fissure appears, a dark crack in the stone just wide enough for a person to squeeze through. It is not an illusion. The mountain itself has opened a way. The path to the Underworld, a place of ancient mysteries and the setting for so much of Greek mythology, is now open to you. You pull your hand back from the altar. The wound on your palm has already sealed itself, leaving behind a scar that is unnaturally pale, almost white against your skin. It does not hurt. In fact, you can no longer feel anything in that hand at all. It is numb, a dead weight at your side. This is the first part of the price. An oath to the Lord of the Dead is a bargain struck with the ultimate creditor. He has accepted your vow and opened the way, but he has taken his down payment. You have traded blood and feeling for passage. As you stand before the yawning darkness of the fissure, the scent of damp earth and cold stone beckons you forward. You have sworn an oath, and its power now pulls you toward the sunless depths, a living soul about to trespass in the land of the dead. But as you take the first step into the cold embrace of the mountain, a disquieting thought lodges itself in your mind. The oath demanded purity of purpose, a vow you believe you made in earnest. Why then does it feel like a chain has just been locked around your heart, its links forged from a promise you don't fully remember making? The fissure in the mountain is not a cave. It is a wound in the world. As you squeeze through the narrow opening, the rock feels cold and oddly yielding, like chilled flesh. The air immediately changes. Gone is the scent of cypress and night jasmine. It is the stark, mineral odor of deep earth, of stone that has never known the sun. The passage slopes steeply downward, a tight, claustrophobic tunnel that forces you to turn sideways, your shoulders scraping against the damp black walls. There is no light ahead, only an impenetrable darkness that seems to absorb the very memory of light. You move by feel, your good hand tracing the contours of the rock while your numb, deadened hand bumps uselessly against your side, a constant, chilling reminder of the price you have already paid. After what feels like an eternity of shuffling through the tight passage, it begins to widen. You feel the space open up around you, and you can finally stand upright. The low hum you heard outside is louder here, a steady, thrumming vibration that resonates in your chest. The darkness, however, remains absolute. It is a physical presence, a heavy blanket that smothers sight. It is in this profound blindness that you first hear them, the whispers. They are not in your mind. They are in the air, slithering like smoke around you. They are fragments, echoes of words spoken in moments of crisis. She is not for you. A voice hisses, sharp with jealousy. The pact was sealed in fire. Another laments full of regret. A crown of gold for a kingdom of dust. A third mocks. These are not the voices of the dead, not yet. They are the lingering psychic residue of strong emotions, echoes trapped in the stone. You try to push the voices away, to focus on your purpose, but they cling to you, invasive and unsettling. You need a guide, a map, and as if summoned by your need, a new voice cuts through the chorus of whispers. It is a single, clear voice, speaking not in your ear, but directly in the center of your consciousness. It is dry and rustling, like ancient papyrus being unrolled. The sunless path does not suffer the gaze of the living, it says. Seek the one who speaks in riddles and walks in twilight, where the river weeps. Her counsel you will keep. The voice is gone as quickly as it came, leaving behind a silence more profound than before. This must be it. The oracle's verse. The first clue on this impossible journey into the heart of Greek mythology. You are reminded of the Pythia at Delphi, whose prophecies were notoriously ambiguous, often leading heroes to their doom through misinterpretation. You recall a local legend from the hills of Boeotia about an ancient chthonic prophetess who predated Apollo's arrival at Delphi. It was said she gave her counsel not in grand temples, but in forgotten grottos. And at the mouths of weeping springs, her words only comprehensible to those with no other hope left. Perhaps this is the one you must find, where the river weeps. The phrase echoes in the silent dark. You have no way of knowing which way to go, but the path seems to be guiding you. The downward slope continues, and soon you hear a new sound, faint but distinct, the gentle, rhythmic dripping of water. You follow the sound, your steps slow and deliberate on the uneven stone floor. The dripping grows louder, closer, until it becomes a steady, mournful patter. The air grows heavier, saturated with a dampness that clings to your skin and clothes. You come to a vast, cavernous space. You cannot see its ceiling or its walls, but you know it is immense by the way the sound of the dripping water echoes around you. In the center of this cavern, you sense a presence. It is a stillness, a point of absolute calm in the echoing darkness. You approach it cautiously. As you draw near, you see a faint flickering light, the first light you have seen since entering the mountain. It was a single small flame, burning with no discernible fuel, casting long, dancing shadows. Beside the flame sits a figure, shrouded and unmoving. You halt a few paces away. You cannot make out a face beneath the heavy cowl, only the suggestion of a chin, and the glint of the firelight on what might be ancient, withered skin. This must be the oracle. You open your mouth to speak, to ask for the meaning of the verse. But before you can utter a sound, the figure stirs. A hand skeletal and wrapped in decaying linen lifts from its lap. It does not point. Instead, it slowly, deliberately, traces a single, complex symbol in the air before it. The symbol hangs there, drawn in lines of pale, shimmering dust motes, visible only for a moment before dissipating. It is a pictograph of a serpent biting its own tail, but with a flaw. The circle is broken, the snake's mouth not quite reaching its prize. This is her counsel, her answer to the question you have not yet asked. There is no riddle to solve, no verse to interpret. There is only this stark, silent image. The great cycle is broken. The world's sacred loop has been interrupted. She has confirmed the nature of the plague without a single word. But her gesture also feels like a warning, a taboo made visible. To proceed is to step into that broken circle, to place yourself within the flaw of the cosmos. As you stare at the space where the symbol hung, the oracle's shrouded head tilts, and you feel an unseen gaze boring into you. A gaze that asks a silent, terrifying question. Now that you have seen the truth of the wound, are you prepared to become part of it? You give the silent oracle a nod of understanding, a gesture of gratitude for a truth delivered without the deception of words. The single, unwavering flame sputters once, as if in acknowledgement, before you turn your back on it and walk deeper into the echoing darkness. The path continues its descent, but the tunnel changes. The walls are no longer rough-hewn rock. They are smooth, almost polished, as if worn down by the passage of countless millennia and innumerable souls. The air grows thin and sharp, carrying the scent of a distant cold water and the faint, unsettling smell of ozone. Like the air after a lightning strike, the low hum that has been your constant companion begins to resolve into a more complex sound, a deep, resonant grinding, like the slow, inexorable turning of tectonic plates miles below. The tunnel opens into another cavern, this one smaller and more defined, and it is here that the path ends, blocked by a formidable presence. It is a figure, vaguely humanoid in shape, but it is part of the cave itself, a being of living stone. It sits upon a throne carved from the same black, polished rock as the walls, and it seems to have been waiting for you since the mountain was young. It has no face, no eyes, no mouth. Its head is a smooth ovoid shape, and its massive body is a collection of geometric planes and sharp angles, less a sculpture and more a geological formation given sentient form. This is the Threshold Guardian, a being far older than the flashy deities of Olympus. It is a function of the place itself, a living lock on the door to the underworld. As you halt before it, the grinding sound intensifies. The sound is not coming from the walls, but from the creature itself. It is the sound of its thoughts, of its being. A voice speaks, not into the air, but directly against the bones of your skull, a vibration that rattles your teeth. The voice is the sound of stone scraping stone, immense and devoid of emotion. You carry a mortal oath. It grinds. It's an offering of blood and will. Many come this far. Few are worthy to proceed. This is the test, not of your strength, for what could flesh do against living rock? Oh, not of your courage, for despair has already burned that away. This is a test of your essence, of the truth of the vow you swore at the altar. You stand silently, knowing there is nothing you can say that it does not already know. The Guardian's bizarre and unnerving power lies in its perception. It does not hear words or see actions. It senses the weight and texture of a soul. It can feel the shape of your intent, the grain of your purpose, and it is searching for the slightest flaw, the smallest crack of deceit. The Guardian's head tilts, a slow, scraping movement. You claim a pure purpose, to understand the broken cycle, noble cause. The stone voice grinds to a pause, and you feel a terrible pressure building in your mind. It is probing the oath you swore, replaying it for you, but infusing it with your deepest, unspoken insecurities. But beneath the claim it continues, the words hammering at your resolve. I feel the seed of pride, the desire to be the one who succeeded where all others failed, the ambition of the hero, the stain of self-interest. This realm does not suffer vanity. The path forward is for the selfless, not for those seeking a story to tell. This is its power. It peels back the layers of your own self-deception and forces you to confront them. For a moment you falter. Is it true? Are you here not for the world, but for yourself? To be the one who stared into the abyss and returned with its secrets, with the desires there? A faint, poisonous whisper in the back of your soul. This is the concept of miasma, the ritual pollution the ancient Greeks so feared. Not just the stain of murder, but the stain of hubris, of placing oneself at the center of the story. It is a pollution that defiles sacred spaces, and there is no space more sacred, more absolute, than the kingdom of the dead. You feel the Guardian's judgment beginning to form, the path threatening to seal itself forever. You have one choice, not to deny the accusation, but to accept it and burn it away with the greater truth. You focus your will, not on arguing, but on the image of the plague-ridden world, the vacant eyes, the silent suffering. You acknowledge the flicker of pride within you, own it as a flaw of your mortal nature, but you hold up the purity of your ultimate goal like a shield. Let me be proud, you think? Let me be flawed, but let my purpose be true. My pride is nothing compared to the world's pain. The pressure in your skull recedes. The grinding sound softens. The stain is present, the Guardian grinds. Its tone unchanged, but its judgment final. But it does not form the core of your intent. The oath holds. The purpose is sufficient. With a sound like a mountain shifting in its sleep, the Guardian does not move aside. Instead, the throne it sits on, and the creature itself, recedes back into the cavern wall, melting into the polished stone until the surface is once again smooth and unbroken. The path forward is now clear. You take a hesitant step, then another, your heart pounding with the aftermath of the psychic ordeal. You have passed the test. But as you walk into the newly opened passage, the Guardian's voice grinds against your skull one last time, a parting message that chills you more than the trial itself. Your oath was the key to this door. But from here on, every step requires a toll. The river ahead does not bargain for blood, demands a different currency. The final words hang in the air as you walk toward the sound of distant flowing water, leaving you with a stark and pressing question. If the ferryman of the dead does not accept blood or vows, what price will you be forced to pay to cross into his domain? The passage beyond the guardian's chamber opens onto a vast, misty shore. The ceiling of this immense cavern is lost in a swirling gray fog, and before you stretches a body of water so black and still, it seems to absorb all sound. This is the river Acheron, the river of woe, the first of the great rivers of the underworld. Its water does not flow, it waits. The air is heavy with the scent of damp earth and something else, something acrid and sorrowful, like the smell of old tears. Lining the bank as far as you can see in the gloom are figures, silent and waiting. They are shades, the newly arrived dead, their forms translucent and wavering, like smoke in a still room. They do not speak. They do not move. They simply stand, their spectral eyes fixed on the opposite shore, lost in a daze of confusion and grief. A wooden pier, slick with an oily black grime, extends a short way out over the water. At its end, a simple, flat-bottomed barge is tethered, its wood ancient and splintered. And on the barge stands a figure, his back to you, poling the dark water with a long, gnarled staff. He is gaunt and wiry, dressed in a simple, filthy tunic, his skin the color of dried clay. This is Charon, the ferryman of the dead, a being as ancient and immutable as the river itself. His is one of the most vital roles in all of Greek mythology, a grim gatekeeper who connects the anteroom of death to its deeper realms. As you step onto the pier, the wood groans under your weight, a sound that cuts through the silence and draws the attention of every shade on the shore. Their heads turn in unison, their hollow eyes fixing on you, the anomaly, the living thing. A low collective sigh rises from them, a sound of 1,000 forgotten sorrows. Charon turns slowly. His face is a mask of grim resignation, his eyes deep-set and weary, having witnessed every form of human grief for eons.
He is not a monster.
He is a civil servant of the cosmos, performing a thankless, eternal task. His gaze falls upon you, and for the first time, you see a flicker of something other than weariness in his eyes. Annoyance. You are not one of them, he rasps, his voice like gravel scraping over stone. You carry the stench of warm blood and the arrogance of breath. This is not your time. Turn back, I cannot. You say, your voice sounding frail and thin in the vast cavern. I have sworn an oath, must cross. Charon lets out a dry, mirthless chuckle. He spits the word as if it tastes foul. The living love their oaths. They swear them on the sun, the stars, their mothers' graves. They mean nothing down here. The only thing that has meaning is payment. A coin for passage. That is the law. No coin, no crossing. Look at them. He gestures with his pole toward the silent multitudes on the shore. They wait. Some for days, some for a century. They wait for a living relative to remember them, to place a coin in their mouth or on their eyes. A simple asterisk, obelisk asterisk. The price of passage. Do you have your coin, living one? This is the ancient rite, a historical fact that shaped burial customs across the Greek world for centuries. Families would place a coin in the mouth of the deceased to ensure they could pay Charon's fee, believing that without it, their loved ones would be trapped on the wrong side of the Acheron for 100 years. You reach into your pouch, your fingers searching for a coin, any coin, but your pouch is empty. In your haste, in your desperation, you brought nothing of material value. You look at Charon, your heart sinking. I have no coin. His expression hardens. Then you have no passage. The law is the law. It is older than Zeus, older than the Titans. It is a law of balance. A life's journey is paid for in toil. The final journey is paid for in coin. The price must be paid. He turns his back to you, preparing to shove off to leave you stranded with the sorrowful dead. Wait, you plead, stepping forward. My oath was accepted. The way was opened. I have already paid a price. You hold up your numb, pale hand. Feeling was taken from me. Is that not currency enough? Charon glances at your hand, his gaze lingering on the unnatural scar. He seems to ponder this for a long moment. A curious payment, he mutters, more to himself than to you. A down payment to the king, but not to me. My toll is my own. He is about to dismiss you again when he stops. His head cocks to the side and a strange, almost sly look comes over his face. He turns back to you, his weary eyes glinting with a morbid interest. No coin, he says slowly.
Tao.
But you are a living soul. You still possess things these shades have lost. Things of value. He pulls the barge closer to the pier, its edge bumping gently against the wood. I will not take blood. I will not take a vow. The king can have those. I am a simple ferryman. I take payment in kind. He leans in, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper, the stench of the river on his breath. I will take a memory, not just any memory, Give me your happiest one. The memory of your greatest joy, the moment the sun shone brightest for you. Give it to me freely and completely. Erase it from your soul. That will be your coin. The proposition hangs in the air, cold and terrible. Your happiest memory. It's the one pure, untarnished moment of bliss in a life of struggle. To give it up would be to hollow out a part of your own identity, to leave a void where joy once lived. But as you look at the endless waiting crowd of shades in the black, silent river, you realize the choice has already been made for you. The guardian's warning echoes in your ears. Every step requires a toll. What is one happy memory when weighed against the fate of the world? But the question that sticks in your throat is a venomous one. If you trade away your greatest joy to begin this journey, what will be left of you to find your way back? Word count 1099 awaiting continue. The silence stretches, broken only by the gentle lapping of the black water against the pier. Charon waits, his gaze unwavering, his expression a flat, patient mask. The shades on the shore watch you, their collective sorrow, a palpable weight in the air. To them you are a curiosity, a drama unfolding in the eternal waiting room of the dead. Your happiest memory. The demand is so simple, yet so profoundly cruel. It is a piece of your soul, the anchor of your spirit. You close your eyes, and the memory surfaces instantly, vividly, as if summoned for inspection. It is a summer afternoon from your childhood. You are lying in a field of wildflowers, the sun warm on your face. The air is thick with the sweet scent of clover and the drowsy buzzing of bees. Your mother is sitting beside you, her hand gently stroking your hair as she sings a soft, wordless melody. In that moment, there is no fear, no worry, no past, no future. There is only the warmth of the sun, the scent of the earth, and the absolute, unconditional love of her presence. It is a memory of pure, uncomplicated peace, a perfect jewel of joy that you have carried in your heart through all the hardships that followed. To give this up feels like a second death. Well, Charon's gravelly voice cuts through your reverie. The river is patient, but I am not. Do we have a bargain? You open your eyes and look at the ancient ferryman. His demand is monstrous, but you see now that there is no malice in it. It is simply a transaction. He is a creature of balance, and he requires payment of equivalent value. A living soul, full of warmth and light, cannot cross for the same price as an empty shade.
Scales do not bend to rhetoric. Your retraction is accepted. Your punishment stands.
The toll must be commensurate. With the traveler, you take a deep, shuddering breath. You have your price, you say, your voice cracking. Charon nods, a slow, grim movement. Then give it to me, not the story of it, the thing itself. Hold it in your mind, see it, feel it, and then let it go, toward me. You do as he says. You conjure the memory again, but this time you do not embrace it. You hold it at arm's length, an object to be discarded. You feel the warmth of the sun, hear the hum of the bees, feel the gentle touch of your mother's hand. Now you let the feeling of pure joy fill you one last time, a final, painful farewell. Then, with an act of will that feels like tearing your own heart from your chest, you push it away. You mentally project it out of yourself, a shimmering sphere of golden light and warmth that floats in the gray air between you and the ferryman. Charon raises a gnarled, bony hand. The sphere of light drifts toward him and settles into his palm. He closes his fingers around it, and as he does, a flicker of something ancient and long forgotten passes across his face. For a fleeting instant, the weary lines around his eyes soften. A faint ghost of a smile touches his lips. He is not just taking the memory, he is consuming it, feeding on the echo of your joy. Then the moment passes. His face reverts to its usual grim mask, but his eyes seem less weary, holding a spark of revitalized energy. The sphere of light is gone. You feel the change immediately. It is a hollowing out, a sudden, shocking cold in the center of your being. You try to recall the memory, but there is nothing there. Only a blank space, an empty frame where a masterpiece once hung. You know you had a mother. You know there were summer days. But the feeling, the warmth, the joy is gone. Completely. You have paid the toll. A fair price, Charon rasps, his voice sounding slightly stronger. He stomps his foot on the barge. Get in, and do not touch the water. You step onto the flat-bottomed boat, your legs unsteady. The wood feels strangely solid beneath your feet after the insubstantiality of the memory you just lost. Charon pushes off from the pier with his long pole, and the barge glides silently out onto the black, still surface of the Acheron. As you move away from the shore, The crowd of waiting shades watches you go. Their forms growing fainter in the mist, their collective sigh of sorrow the last sound you hear from the world of the waiting. Now, there is only the silence of the river. The water is as smooth as polished obsidian, reflecting the gray swirling fog above like a perfect, lightless mirror. There are no waves, no currents. The barge moves as if through liquid glass. But the silence is not empty. As you glide farther from the shore, a new sound begins to rise from the depths of the river itself. It is the sound of weeping, not loud, dramatic sobs, but the low, ceaseless, heartbroken weeping of millions of souls. It is the accumulated grief of all who have ever crossed this river, a sound that permeates the very water. This is why it is called the Acheron, the river of woe. Its currents are made of sorrow. The historical accounts of ancient mysteries and journeys into the underworld, like those of Odysseus and Aeneas, often speak of the rivers, but they never truly capture the horrifying, immersive soundscape. It is a symphony of despair that threatens to drown your own spirit. You grip the sides of the barge, your knuckles white, trying to block out the sound, but it is impossible. It seeps into you, a chilling tide of misery that resonates with the new, hollow space in your chest. The crossing feels endless. The opposite shore is nowhere in sight, lost in the impenetrable fog. There is only the weeping water, the gray mist, and the grim, silent figure of the ferryman pulling you toward an unknown destination. A chilling thought occurs to you as you listen to the river's lament. If this is just the sound of the crossing, what unimaginable horrors await in the lands to which it leads? Word count: 1,100 awaiting continue. The barge grinds against a shore of black sand and smooth dark pebbles. The sound of weeping from the Acheron fades behind you, replaced by a profound and expectant silence. Charon doesn't speak. He simply waits for you to disembark, his silhouette a grim statue against the swirling mist. You step onto the solid ground of the underworld proper, and the ferryman immediately pushes off, the barge melting back into the fog without a sound, leaving you utterly alone. Before you, looming out of the gloom, is a vast archway, a gate carved from a single, seamless piece of black basalt. There is no ornamentation, no inscription, no boastful frieze of defeated enemies. There is only the sheer, absolute finality of the entrance. This is the true gate to the kingdom of Hades. As you take a step toward it, the ground beneath your feet begins to tremble, a low, deep vibration that you feel in the marrow of your bones. Then comes the sound, a growl so deep and resonant it seems to come from the rock itself. From the darkness of the archway, a monstrous form emerges, solving itself from the shadows. Cerberus, the hound of hell. But the tales and mosaics do not do it justice. It is a creature of terrifying scale, its body a mass of corded muscle beneath a coat of bristly, iron-gray fur. Its shoulders are as high as a horse's, and from them sprout 3 massive canine heads, each on a thick, powerful neck. A mane of writhing, hissing snakes rides around its necks, and its tail is not a tail at all, but a long, scaly serpent, its own head darting and tasting the air. Each of the 3 main heads has eyes that glow like hot coals in the dark. This is no mere beast. This is a guardian of divine appointment, the ultimate expression of the dog's ancient role in human culture as a loyal protector. In the world above, dogs guarded the home. Here, this dog guards the final home of all souls. There is no malice in its posture, only an uncompromising sense of duty. Its purpose is simple and absolute: to prevent the dead from escaping and the living from entering. You are an affront to the second half of its sacred charge. You freeze, your breath caught in your throat. To run is impossible. To fight is unthinkable. You can only stand before it, a fragile living soul trespassing at the gates of eternity. The 3 heads focus on you, and you notice something bizarre, a detail no myth ever prepares you for. They do not act in unison. Each seems to be perceiving you in a different way. The head on the right lets out a low, rumbling growl, its lips peeling back to reveal teeth like obsidian daggers. Its glowing eyes narrow, and you feel it seeing your life, your warmth, the blood still pumping in your veins. It sees you as an invader, a creature of sunlight and motion, in a realm of shadow and stillness. This head sees your past, the life you are trying to drag into a place where life does not belong. The head in the center, however, does not growl. It emits a low, confused whine, its great head tilting as if puzzled. Its eyes are not filled with aggression, but with a deep, searching curiosity. This head seems to see you as you are now, a being caught between states. It sees the oath burned into your soul, the cold void where your happiest memory used to be, the deadened, numb hand at your side. It sees a creature already part dead, marked by the currency of the underworld. This head sees your present, a paradox it cannot immediately classify. But it is the head on the left that is the most unsettling. It is completely silent, does not growl or whine. Its gaze is not even fixed on you, but seems to be looking through you, at something on the path far behind you. Its eyes are calm, ancient, and knowing. This head sees your purpose, your destination. It sees the thread of your oath pulling you toward the obsidian palace of its master. This head sees your future. The three aspects of the Guardian's perception seem to confer for a silent, tense moment. The growling from the right head subsides, replaced by a low rumble of grudging acceptance. The whining from the center head ceases. The snake tail, which had been coiled and hissing, relaxes, its reptilian head now resting on the stone floor. Cerberus is a judge. Its role is not to kill, but to correctly sort. It has seen who you were, what you have become, and where you are going. It has weighed the living anomaly against the sworn purpose and found you, by some grim cosmic calculus, worthy of passage. With a heavy sigh that sounds like rocks grinding together, the great beast lies down. It does not move aside, but its massive body settles, its three heads resting on its powerful forepaws, its 9 glowing eyes now watching you, not as a threat, but as a traveler, being permitted to pass. A narrow path is now clear, a tight squeeze between the creature's flank and the stone wall of the gate. You walk forward, your heart hammering against your ribs. You can feel the heat radiating from its body, smell the scent of brimstone and old bones on its breath. The hissing of its snake mane is a quiet chorus as you pass. You have made it through the gates. You are now truly inside the realm of the dead. As you look forward, the path immediately forks, splitting into 3 distinct trails that disappear into the misty landscape. But the Guardian's silent judgment lingers in your mind, a 3-part verdict that now poses a terrible question. Cerberus judged you worthy to enter, but its gaze was a silent interrogation of your past, present, and future. 8. Now, standing before the 3 paths that stretch into the gloom, which path is a soul like yours neither fully living nor truly dead supposed to take? Word count: 1,100 awaiting continue. You stand at the crossroads of existence, the place where all souls find their inevitable level. Before you lie the 3 great highways of the afterlife, each diverging from the black sand of the Acheron shore and disappearing into the perpetual twilight of the underworld. No signpost marks the way. None is needed. This is a place of absolute and terrifying clarity, a junction governed not by choice, but by the undeniable gravity of a life lived. The path on your left slopes steeply downward, a jagged fissure into the deeper rock. A low, angry hum emanates from its depths, punctuated by a distant, rhythmic clang of metal on stone. The air that wafts from it is hot and acrid, thick with the smell of sulfur and burning despair. This is the road to Tartarus, the prison of the damned. It is reserved for the Titans, for those who committed unforgivable sins against the gods, and for mortals whose hubris was so great it scarred the world. It is a place of eternal, meaningful punishment. The path straight ahead is broad, flat, and featureless. It stretches into a gray, misty plain that seems to have no end. The air here is utterly neutral, without temperature or scent. The only sound is a faint, colorless hiss, like the static between worlds. This is the way to the Asphodel Meadows, the destination for the vast majority of souls. It is for those who are neither truly virtuous nor profoundly evil, the masses who lived and died without leaving a significant mark. Theirs is not a punishment, but a listless, shadowy continuation, an eternity of muted memory and endless twilight. To your right, the path slopes gently upward, paved with stones that seem to shimmer with a faint internal luminescence. Far in the distance, a soft golden light pulses, a beacon of peace in the gloom. A whisper of ethereal music and the phantom scent of night-blooming jasmine drift on a cool, light breeze. This is the path to Elysium, the Isles of the Blessed, the reward for the righteous, and the great heroes. It is a paradise of endless, tranquil heroism, where the greatest souls can continue their pursuits in peace. As you stand there, you witness the sorting, fresh contingent of shades. Having just made the crossing with Charon, now stand where you are. There is no grand tribunal, no booming voice of judgment. You remember the stories of the 3 judges Minos, Rhadamanthus. An AEAC used mortal kings whose unwavering justice in life earned them this eternal, terrible duty from the deities, But they are not here as figures on thrones, where judgment is woven into the very fabric of this place. It is a fundamental law, as inescapable as gravity. You watch as a shade, once a powerful king on earth, still radiating an aura of arrogance, is seized by an invisible force. He struggles, his spectral form flickering in protest. But the weight of his own pride drags him inexorably toward the gaping maw of Tartarus. His soul is heavy with cruelty and broken oaths, and it sinks naturally toward the place of punishment. He is not sent there. He falls. Another shade, a humble farmer who toiled his entire life and died in his sleep, simply drifts forward. There is no pull, no force. He wanders onto the wide gray path to asphodel with a sigh of resignation, joining the endless, shuffling procession of the ordinary. His soul is neither heavy enough to sink nor light enough to rise. Then a third shade, that of a young woman. Her form bearing the faint marks of a final brutal battle, pauses at the junction. For a moment, she seems lost. Then, a lightness fills her. Her feet lift from the black sand and she floats, not flies, toward the gentle upward-sloping path to Elysium. Her sacrifice, her courage, has given her spirit a buoyancy that lifts her toward the light. This is the brilliant, terrifying justice of Hades' realm. There is no argument, no appeal. Each soul carries its own weight, its own verdict. This sorting mechanism is the quirky, bizarre detail of this place. It's not an external judgment, but an internal one made manifest. You feel it yourself as you turn to face each path. When you look toward Tartarus, the air grows dense, pressing down on your chest, and the low hum makes your teeth ache. When you face asphodel, all sensation drains away, and you feel a profound apathy wash over you. When you turn toward Elysium, the air feels bright and effervescent, and the distant music seems to call your name. But you are not pulled. You are a living being, an anomaly. Laws of spiritual gravity do not apply to you. You are not here to be judged. You are here on a quest, bound by an oath to the master of this entire domain. You must choose your path. But which path leads to the obsidian palace of the king? The myths are silent on this, for the palace is not a destination for the dead. It is the center of power, the administrative heart of this whole reality. It must lie somewhere apart from the realms of reward, punishment, and indifference. You close your eyes and focus on the oath you swore, the cold scar on your palm, the hollow space in your heart. These are your compass now. The paths of the dead are laid bare before you, each leading to a just and final destination. But you are not dead, and your destination is not a judgment but a meeting. Which path does a living soul with a singular, desperate purpose take when none of the roads were designed for them? Word count: 1098 awaiting continue. The pull of the three paths is a temptation. Tartarus beckons with the dark promise of witnessing ultimate consequence. Elysium calls with the siren song of peace and light, a stark contrast to the hollow ache in your chest. But your purpose is not to find a final resting place. Your purpose is to find a king. And a king does not reside among his subjects, whether they are blessed or damned. His place is at the center, the point of balance from which all order emanates. Logically, the palace of Hades should not be at the end of any of these roads. You turn your back on the crossroads and face the only other direction, the way you came, toward the black, silent shore of the Acheron. It seems counterintuitive, a retreat. But as you do, you notice something you missed before. There is a fourth path. It is not a grand road or a gaping fissure, but a narrow, barely there, trail of dark pebbles. Leading away from the crossroads and hugging the misty shoreline, it is a service path, an administrative route, unseen by the souls, who are blinded by their own spiritual destinies. This must be the way. You step onto the pebble trail, and the sounds of the three great realms fade behind you. Here, there is only the profound silence of the underworld and the faint, almost imperceptible lapping of the Acheron's sorrowful waters against the shore. The air grows cool and still. As you walk, you realize you are not alone. The path runs parallel to the great gray road leading to the asphodel meadows, separated by a wide, dry ditch. Across this divide, you can see them, the endless procession of the ordinary dead. They are a river of shades, a silent, shuffling multitude stretching as far as the eye can see in the perpetual twilight. They walk slowly, their heads bowed, their forms translucent and flickering like faulty lanterns. There is no weeping here, no gnashing of teeth. There is only a profound, soul-crushing melancholy, a quiet resignation to an eternity of nothingness. These are the souls who live lives of quiet desperation, of untapped potential, of choices not made. They were not evil enough for punishment, nor noble enough for reward. Theirs is the fate of the forgotten. As you walk, your living presence acts as a strange disturbance. Some of the shades near the edge of the procession turn their heads, their vacant, hollow eyes fixing on you. They do not seem to see *U*, but but rather the life you represent. They see the warmth, the color, the motion of a living being, and it is a painful reminder of everything they have lost. A low, collective murmur rises from the procession, a sound like dry leaves skittering across pavement. It is a sound of envy, of regret, of a billion missed opportunities. You try to look away, but their spectral gazes are magnetic. You see a man who looks like a merchant, his ethereal fingers constantly rubbing together as if counting coins he no longer possesses. You see a young woman, her form forever frozen in the act of looking over her shoulder, waiting for a lover who never returned. You see a scholar, his brows furrowed in concentration, trying to grasp a thought that has long since dissolved into the gray mist. Each is trapped in the dominant habit or regret of their life, replaying it in a muted, endless loop. This is the true nature of Asphodel. It's not a field of bland flowers, as some poets claimed. It is an eternity of being haunted by the ghost of your own unrealized self. You feel a pang of pity, but it is quickly replaced by a chilling fear. This is the fate of the majority, the default setting for the human soul. It is a powerful, terrifying argument for living a life of consequence. For choosing a side, for being something other than lukewarm. The ancient mysteries often hinted at this, teaching that a life without passion or purpose was the greatest risk of all, leading not to hell, but to an eternity of gray indifference. It is a subtle horror, far more psychologically unsettling than the fire of Tartarus. You quicken your pace, wanting to escape the gravitational pull of their collective melancholy. You avert your eyes from the procession and focus on the pebble path ahead. The ground remains flat, the shore of the Acheron a constant, dark companion to your right. You are walking on the very edge of existence, in a maintenance corridor, between the river of woe and the plains of apathy. The air grows colder, and the mist begins to thin slightly, revealing the stark, bleak landscape of the underworld. Jagged black rocks jut from the ground like broken teeth, and the sky, if you can call it that, is a permanent, starless vortex of gray cloud. You have been walking for what feels like hours, the silent procession of the dead your only company, when the pebble path begins to curve away from the shore, leading inland. The terrain starts to change, the ground becoming harder, more solid. You are leaving the liminal spaces of the rivers and the fields and entering the heart of the realm. Silence deepens, becoming a ringing in your ears. You are approaching the seat of power, the place where the laws you have witnessed are made and enforced. And as you walk, a stark question begins to form in your mind, born from the sight of the endless shuffling dead. If this is the fate of the average soul, is the justice of the underworld truly just, or is it merely efficient? Word count, 1093, awaiting continue. The hard pebble path continues, but the landscape begins to shift once more. The oppressive neutral gray that characterized the approach to Asphodel starts to thin, and a soft golden luminescence bleeds into the perpetual twilight ahead of you. A gentle warmth pushes back the chill of the deep earth, and a faint, ethereal music reaches your ears, a melody played on lyres and pipes that speaks of peace and contentment. The path curves, and you find yourself walking along the edge of a deep, wide chasm. On the other side is the source of the light and music, the fields of Elysium. Separating you from this paradise is not just the chasm, but also the river that flows at its bottom. This is the river Lethe, the river of forgetfulness. Unlike the black, sorrowful waters of the Acheron, Lethe's waters are crystal clear, flowing slowly over a bed of smooth white stones. It looks pure, inviting, and utterly serene, but you know its power. This is the final blessing, or perhaps the final quirky rule, for the souls who are in paradise. To drink from Lethe is to forget all the pains and sorrows of a mortal life, to release the burdens of the past, and embrace an eternity of blissful peace. For the blessed, it is a gift. For you, it would be a catastrophe, erasing the oath and the purpose that drives you. You instinctively step back from the edge, the river's gentle murmur a siren's call to oblivion. Across the chasm, Elysium unfolds in breathtaking beauty. It is a landscape of rolling green hills, dotted with groves of silver-leafed olive trees and poplars that seem to shimmer with their own internal light. There is no sun, but a golden radiance emanates from the very air itself, casting no shadows. The music you heard is clearer now, interwoven with the sounds of calm conversation and joyous laughter. You see the inhabitants, the shades of the righteous and the heroic, and they are not idle. This is no eternity of passive bliss. It is a place of perfected action. You see a group of philosophers gathered under a great olive tree, engaged in a vibrant, silent debate, their gestures animated with the joy of pure reason. You see athletes, their spectral forms lean and powerful, racing in a meadow, their movements fluid and graceful. Unburdened by fatigue, Near a clear, sparkling spring, a poet strums a lyre, and a small audience listens, their forms glowing faintly with appreciation. A great strategist stands alone on a hilltop, moving shimmering pieces on a phantom game board, replaying his most famous victory not for glory, but for the love of the art of war itself. These are the heroes, Greek mythology, Greek mythology, not just warriors, but artists, thinkers, and lawmakers, all enjoying an eternity of pursuing the excellence, the that defined their lives. You notice that one part of the fields, on a series of islands in a shimmering lake, is even brighter than the rest. The light there is a brilliant, steady gold, and the figures are more distinct, more solid. This is the historical Isle of the Blessed, the ultimate reward reserved for the greatest of souls, those who were judged, reborn into mortal life, and earned their place in Elysium 3 times over. You see the faint outline of a warrior who can only be Achilles, no longer sulking, but laughing as he spars with a companion. His movements a blur of divine speed. Here, heroism earns its eternal reward, a concept that feels worlds away from the grim, honor-bound halls of Valhalla, from the Norse legends This is not a reward for a good death, but for a great life. The sight is beautiful, but it fills you with a profound sense of alienation. The hollow space in your chest where your joy used to be aches with a cold jealousy. You are a creature of sorrow and shadow, a tourist in the land of the blessed, separated from them by a chasm of worthiness and the waters of oblivion. Their peace is a wall you cannot breach. Their light only serves to illuminate your own darkness. You have seen the fate of the indifferent in the asphodel meadows. Now you see the fate of the exceptional. The justice of the underworld is stark, absolute, and perfectly balanced. The path curves again, leading you away from the chasm and the river Lethe. The golden light and the ethereal music begin to fade behind you, and the familiar, neutral gloom of the underworld closes in once more. You have now glimpsed the full spectrum of the afterlife, the unseen depths of Tartarus, the gray plains of Asphodel, and the sunlit fields of Elysium. You have seen how this kingdom of ancient mysteries sorts every soul according to its weight. You understand the perfect, dispassionate logic that governs this realm. But after witnessing the final destinations for every kind of soul, a new, more pressing question solidifies in your mind. Where in this perfectly ordered cosmos of the dead is the place for the living God who rules it all? Word count, 1083, await and continue. As the last echoes of Elysian music fade, the path you are on becomes steeper, descending once more into a gloom that feels older and heavier than anything you have yet encountered. The air grows cold and still, carrying the scent of damp stone and something else. A faint, metallic temps, like old blood or rust. The path, once a trail of pebbles, is now paved with smooth, worn flagstones that swallow the sound of your footsteps, forcing you into an unnerving silence. You are moving deeper into the administrative heart of the underworld, a place unvisited by any soul, living or dead. You come to a small, quiet courtyard, enclosed on 3 sides by high walls of black, unadorned rock. In the center of the courtyard sits a solitary figure on a simple stone bench. He is a shade, but unlike the shuffling, vacant masses of Asphodel or the radiant heroes of Elysium, this one seems solid, defined, and utterly, profoundly weary. He is dressed in the archaic armor of a long-forgotten age, bronze breastplate, and greaves now dull and green with a patina of millennia. His helmet rests on the bench beside him, revealing a face etched with the deep lines of 1,000 lifetimes of care. He looks up as you approach, his eyes not hollow, but filled with a calm, intelligent light. There is a powerful aura of nobility about him, a quiet dignity that commands respect. You recognize him, not from a statue or a vase painting, but from a feeling, an echo of the stories told about the age of heroes. This is one of them, a forgotten champion, a soul who earned a place in Elysium, but chose not to go. You are a long way from the sun, living one, he says, its voice a low, resonant baritone, surprisingly clear and strong for a shade. It holds no judgment, only a deep, abiding sadness. I seek the king of this realm, you reply, your own voice, a timid whisper in the profound silence. The hero nods slowly. All paths end at his throne, eventually, but few come looking for him willingly. He pats the stone bench beside him, an invitation. Hesitantly, you sit. The stone is cold, but there is a strange comfort in this shade's presence, a stability in the midst of this unreal landscape. I have seen the 3 realms, you say, the words spilling out of you, a confession. I have seen the justice of this place, the sorting of souls, the rewards, the punishments. Justice, the hero muses, turning the word over as if it were a curious stone. The mortals above speak of Hades as a monster, a kidnapper, a greedy lord of the dead. They paint him as the enemy. They do not understand. He is not our jailer. He's our guarantor. He leans forward, his gaze intense. I fought in 100 battles. I took cities. I slew monsters. I served kings who were vain and foolish. My life was a storm of blood and fire. When the first died, I was judged worthy of Elysium. I was offered the light, the music, the endless peace. He gestures vaguely in the direction you came from. But I refused it. This is startling. The Elysian fields are the ultimate prize, the dream that sustained a generation of *** heroes * through their brutal lives. To refuse it is unthinkable. Why, you ask? Because it is an ending, he says simply. Perfect, beautiful, static ending. My life was defined by struggle, by the weighing of choices, by the burden of consequence. To simply let that all be washed away in the Lethe, it felt like a betrayal of the life I lived. I asked the judges for a different path. It is a choice rarely offered, and even more rarely taken. He continues, his voice low and earnest. I chose to serve here at the crossroads, as a guide for those few souls who arrive with a purpose that transcends their own judgment. And in my millennia of service, I have watched the king. I have seen the petitions of the shades, the pleas of the forgotten, the silent rage of the unjustly slain. And I have seen Hades weigh them all with the same cold, incorruptible measure. He is not swayed by flattery, for he has none of the vanity of his Olympian kin. He is not moved by bribes, for what wealth could you offer the god who owns all the riches hidden within the earth? He is not blinded by beauty or power. He is a law unto himself, a law of pure balance. The justice you saw at the crossroads, that is his design. It is perfect, it is absolute, and it is terrifyingly fair. He gives every soul exactly what it has earned. No more, no less. This is a perspective on *** Greek mythology *** you have never heard. A testament from a soul who has seen the system from the inside. The tales of the Olympians are filled with favoritism, jealousy, and capricious punishments. Zeus, Poseidon, Hera. Their dealings with mortals are a chaotic mess of personal whims. But here, in the realm of the one god everyone fears, there is only logic. We do not love him, the shade of the hero admits, a sad smile touching his lips. It is not in our nature to love that which is so absolute, but we respect him. We respect him more than any of the laughing, feckless ** deities, ** on their sunny mountain. Because here, in the darkness, our lives are given their final, true meaning. He is the great accountant of existence, and his ledgers are always balanced. He rises from the bench, his spectral form seeming to shimmer with a renewed sense of purpose. The king's palace is just ahead, but be warned. You seek him to right a wrong in your world. Remember this, his concept of balance may not be the same as yours. He does not deal in mercy. He deals in truth. The hero fades, his form dissolving into the gloom, leaving you alone in the silent courtyard with his chilling words. You have heard the testimony of a respected soul, confirming the unshakable fairness of Hades' rule. But as you prepare to walk the final steps toward the palace of this grimly just king, a deeply unsettling question arises. What happens when a law that is perfectly fair produces an outcome that is intolerably cruel? Word count 1099 awaiting continue. Leaving the courtyard behind, you walk down a long, wide causeway paved with the same silent black flagstones. The air grows colder still, and the silence becomes a presence, a heavy blanket that presses in on you from all sides. There is no mist here, no gloom. The space is one of perfect, crystalline clarity, but it is a clarity defined by the absence of light. You can see for a great distance, yet everything is rendered in shades of black and gray, a landscape carved from shadow itself. And there, at the end of the causeway, it stands, the Obsidian Palace. It is a structure that defies mortal architecture. It is not built ** of ** obsidian. It appears to ** be ** a single colossal piece of it, a mountain of volcanic glass carved into a fortress of impossible scale. Its walls are sheer, polished surfaces that do not reflect light, but seem to swallow it, creating an effect of dizzying depth. Towers and battlements rise into the starless sky, their angles sharp and severe. Their design one of uncompromising, brutalist functionality. There is no beauty here, no artistry, no decoration. The palace is not meant to inspire awe or admiration. It is meant to be a statement of absolute, unassailable authority. It is a fortress of law. As you draw closer, you notice the finer details. The massive gates are not made of wood or bronze, but of a dull gray metal you don't recognize. A metal that seems to absorb sound, There are no guards, no sentries. None are needed. The palace itself is its own defense. You feel a palpable aura radiating from it, a field of pure order and finality. It is the architectural embodiment of the god who rules from within, silent, imposing, and utterly indifferent to the opinions of others. This is the true center of the underworld, the hub from which the three realms are governed. A bizarre and little-known fact about the palace is that it is not considered to be asterisk and asterisk any of the three realms. It sits in a pocket dimension of its own, a nexus point outside the spiritual physics of Tartarus, Asphodel, and Elysium. It is a place of pure administration, the ultimate cosmic bureaucracy. This is why no soul ever visits. It is simply not on their map. You reach the foot of the massive gray gates, which stand slightly ajar, leaving a gap just wide enough for you to enter. As you step across the threshold, you do not enter a grand hall or an opulent throne room. You find yourself in an impossibly vast, silent chamber that feels more like a library or an archive than a palace. The walls are lined with endless shelves, stretching up into the darkness farther than your eye can see. But these shelves do not hold scrolls or books. They hold countless small, crystalline tablets, each one glowing with a faint internal light. You walk down one of the aisles, your footsteps echoing in the cavernous space. You reach out and tentatively touch one of the tablets. It is cool to the touch. As your fingers make contact, the faint light within it brightens, and you can see shimmering, moving images inside like a captured dream. You see a farmer making a promise to his neighbor over a boundary stone. You see a queen whispering a vow to her child. You see a merchant sealing a deal with a handshake. You suddenly understand. This is not a library of stories. It is the archive of oaths. Every promise, every vow, every contract ever made by a mortal is recorded and stored here. A silent, glittering testament to the weight of spoken words. You pull your hand back, a sense of overwhelming awe washing over you. This is the source of Hades' power. It is not in his command over the dead, but in his role as the great registrar of mortal and divine promises. He is the ultimate repository of all debts, the keeper of the cosmic ledger that the hero's shade spoke of. His kingdom is built not on foundations of stone, but on a bedrock of solidified, unbreakable promises. This palace is the physical manifestation of that principle. Wander deeper into the archive, lost in the sheer scale of it. The silence is absolute, the air still and cold. You are the only moving thing in this eternal repository of truth. Pass aisle after aisle, each one filled with millions of glowing tablets, each a life defined by its commitments. You realize that the justice of this realm is so perfect because it is based on this flawless record. When a soul arrives at the crossroads, its life is not judged by the whims of the asterisk deities asterisk, but measured against the promises it made, the oaths it kept, and the vows it broke. The tablets tell the whole story. You feel a growing sense of dread. Your own oath, the one you swore on the blood-drinking altar, must be here somewhere, a newly added crystal glowing in the darkness. The king you seek is not just a ruler. He is the custodian of the very law you have invoked. He knows your purpose not because you will tell him, but because he holds the record of it in his hand. As you round the corner of another towering shelf, you see it. At the very center of the vast chamber, there is a clearing. And in that clearing stands a simple, unadorned throne carved from the same black obsidian as the palace walls. A figure is seated on it, motionless, watching you approach. You have finally reached the heart of the labyrinth, the center of all asterisk ancient mysteries, asterisk. But as you look upon the silent, waiting king, a terrifying question burns in your mind. How do you make a plea to a god who already knows every truth you hold, and every lie you tell yourself? Word count. 1,100 awaiting continue. As you walk toward the throne, the vast archive of oaths seems to press in around you, a silent audience of a billion promises. The figure on the throne remains perfectly still, a study in absolute authority. You expect to see his queen Persephone beside him, as she is so often depicted in the myths. But her throne, a slightly smaller chair of polished, dark gray stone next to his, is empty. You feel a pang of disappointment. Her story is one of the most compelling in all of Greek mythology, a tale of duality, of a queen who bridges the worlds of life and death. A soft voice, cool and melodious, speaks from the shadows to your left. He will not see you until he is ready. He is considering. You turn to see her Persephone. She stands at the edge of a darkened archway, a stark contrast to the grim obsidian of the palace. She is luminous, her skin pale as moonstone, her long hair the color of midnight, woven with faint, shimmering threads of silver. She wears a simple gown of deep violet, and her eyes hold a wisdom that is both ancient and startlingly present. She is not the weeping maiden of the poets, the victim of abduction. She is a queen, serene and powerful in her own right, a true ruler of her domain. "My queen," you stammer, bowing your head. It feels like the only appropriate response. "There is no need for that here," she says, her voice gentle but firm. "We do not stand on the ceremony of our Olympian cousins. Walk with me." She turns and glides through the archway, and you follow, leaving the silent king and his throne of judgment behind. You enter a place that is both impossible and breathtaking, a garden. It is a vast, sunken grotto, the size of a city square, open to the starless, swirling sky of the underworld. But here, things grow. The ground is covered in a soft, moss-like substance that glows with a faint, silvery phosphorescence, casting a gentle, shadowless light over everything. Strange, beautiful plants rise from the dark, rich soil. There are trees with bark like polished jet, their leaves a deep, velvety purple. There are flowers, but they are not the bright, sun-fed blossoms of the world above. These are flowers of shadow and silence. Some have petals like black silk. Others are crystalline, their delicate forms capturing and refracting the faint silvery light of the moss. This is Persephone's domain, her private kingdom within a kingdom. "This is the only place in my husband's realm where things grow," she says, her hand gesturing to the strange flora. "Life is not permitted in the underworld. It is a fundamental law, but memory. Memory is another matter." She leads you to a plant that looks like a cluster of large, closed lily pads, a deep, iridescent blue. She touches one gently, and it unfurls, revealing not a flower, but a shimmering liquid pool in its center. Within the pool, an image plays out, a young boy on a beach. Finding a perfect seashell, his face alight with a joy so pure, it makes your own hollow chest ache. "These plants do not feed on water or light," Persephone explains, her voice soft. "They feed on memories. Specifically, the memories that the shades of Elysium willingly discard when they drink from the river Lethe. Their sorrows, their griefs, their angers. And sometimes," she adds, her gaze finding yours, "their joys. Traded for passage." You flinch, the truth of her words a physical blow. Your happiest memory is here somewhere, a drop of nourishment for this impossible garden. This is a bizarre and fascinating detail of her power. She is a gardener of discarded emotions, a cultivator of psychic residue. "You see," she continues, walking deeper into her silent, luminous garden, "my husband rules the realm of the absolute, the unchangeable past. He is the god of what was. His kingdom is one of facts and finality. But I am the queen of what is remembered. My domain is more fluid. Memories can be replanted. They can be nurtured. They can even sometimes bloom into something new." She stops before a bed of small, crystalline flowers that chime softly as she passes, a sound like tiny glass bells. "You have come to speak to the king about a plague that stops death. You believe the world above is broken, but you are looking at the problem from only one side. You see it as a failure of the law of endings. Have you considered that it might be a failure in the law of beginnings?" Her words are cryptic, another riddle in a journey full of them. "You came here to understand why the door to death is closed, and she is speaking of birth, of life. The balance of the cosmos is not just about the number of souls who enter this realm," she says, her gaze sweeping over her garden of captured moments. "It is also about the number who leave it to be born again, a cycle, a great wheel. Remember the symbol the old oracle showed you? The serpent with the broken circle?" She lets the statement hang in the air, allowing you to make the connection. The plague is not just about the dead not dying. It is part of a larger, more catastrophic breakdown. The entire system of life, death, and rebirth is failing. Her husband, the king, is the master of one half of that cycle. She, the queen who travels between the worlds, understands the whole. "Hades upholds the law with perfect, unyielding integrity," she says, her voice taking on a harder edge, the voice of a queen defending her king. "But even a perfect law can be broken by the folly of those who believe themselves above it. My husband is respected by the dead because he is incorruptible. He is feared by the living because they know deep down that his scales are true and they will be weighed. You will have your audience. But your plea is not with him. Your plea is with the one who broke the law he so faithfully upholds." As she finishes speaking, a deep, resonant chime echoes through the grotto, a sound like a single massive bell being struck. It is a summons. "He is ready for you now," Persephone says, her expression unreadable. He has finished his consideration. She turns to lead you back toward the throne room, but you are left with a terrifying, mind-altering question. If Hades is not the cause of the plague, but merely the one presiding over its consequences, who among the deities has the power to break a law so fundamental that it has thrown the entire cosmos into chaos? Word count 1,100 awaiting continue. You follow Persephone from her luminous, impossible garden back into the vast, silent archive of oaths. The single, resonant chime still hangs in the air, a vibration that you feel in your bones. The king is still seated on his obsidian throne, but something has changed. Before, he was a figure of stillness. Now, he is a figure of presence. The full weight of his attention is focused on the space before him, and as you step into that space, you feel it settle upon you. It is not a feeling of malice or anger. It is the feeling of being seen, completely and absolutely, your entire existence laid bare and measured. He holds an object in his hand. At first, you think it is his iconic helmet, the Helm of Darkness, which grants him invisibility. But it is not. It is his other symbol of power, the one less spoken of in the myths of heroes and monsters, but far more fundamental to his authority. It is the bident, a magnificent two-pronged spear. But it is not a weapon of war like his brother Poseidon's trident, or a symbol of celestial power like Zeus's thunderbolt. Its function is far more subtle and profound. The bident is forged from the same soul-draining gray metal as the palace gates, its twin prongs honed to impossibly sharp points. It is said that with one prong, Hades can shatter any obstacle, physical or metaphysical. The other, he can command the dead. But it's true, quirky power lies not in its use as a weapon, but as a tool of revelation. When Hades strikes the ground with a bident, it does not split the earth. It reveals what is hidden within it, not just the gold, silver, and precious gems that earned him the name Plauton, the wealthy one, but also the hidden truths, the buried secrets, the forgotten laws. It is a key, not a spear. A divine divining rod. As you stand before him, he does not look at you. He is staring intently at the bident he holds across his lap. He runs a gloved finger along one of its prongs, and the silence in the hall deepens, becoming heavy and absolute. You look upon the face of the most feared of all the deities, It is a face of stern, regal beauty, ageless and severe. His hair is as black as the obsidian of his throne, and his eyes are not fiery or cruel, but are the color of deep, starless space, holding a profound and weary intelligence. This is not a monster. This is a king burdened by the greatest responsibility in the cosmos, the management of finality. You have seen my kingdom, he says. His voice is not a booming command, but a low, resonant baritone that seems to be the source of the silence itself. It is the voice of absolute authority, a voice that is never needed to be raised. You have seen the justice of the scales, the sorrow of the river, the peace of the fields. You have walked in my wife's garden and seen the echoes of memory. Now you stand before me, a mortal rife with purpose, reeking of a broken world. You believe a law has failed. He raises his head, and his gaze finally meets yours. To be looked upon by Hades is to feel the full weight of your own mortality. You feel the fragile beat of your heart, the warmth of the blood in your veins, the finite span of your years, all laid bare before a being of eternal, unchanging reality. The law has not failed, he states, his voice flat and final. The law is absolute. The law has been violated. He shifts his grip on the bident, and the throne room seems to grow colder. For eons, the cycle is turned. The living are born, they live, they die. Their souls descend to me. They are weighed. They find their place. Select few, the truly heroic, are offered a choice, the bliss of Elysium, or, after a time, a return to the world of the living. Their memories washed clean by the Lethe, to be reborn. This is the great wheel. Life and death in balance. He speaks of the doctrine of reincarnation, metempsychosis, a concept whispered in the ancient mysteries of the Orphic cults, a belief that the soul was on a journey of purification through multiple lifetimes. That balance, Hades continues, his voice taking on a dangerous edge, is maintained by a pact and oath sworn at the dawn of our reign, when the three of us divided the cosmos. He is speaking of himself, Poseidon and Zeus. We drew lots for our domains, Zeus the sky, Poseidon the sea, and I the world below. But there was a condition, a rule sworn upon the most sacred and unbreakable of vows. The number of souls returning to the world to be reborn could never exceed the number of new souls being created. The population of the living must remain in check. to preserve the balance of the world's resources. A simple, practical law. A law to prevent the world from consuming itself. He pauses, and the silence that follows is terrifying. He is laying out the foundational principles of the cosmos, the operating system of reality. That law has been broken, Hades says, his voice now a low growl of controlled fury. The number of reborn souls has overwhelmed the system. There's no more room for the newly dead. The cycle is choked. The world above suffocates on an excess of life, and my kingdom is starved of its purpose. He has named the crime, he has explained the plague, but he has not yet named the criminal. He looks down at the Biden again, as if reading a truth from its cold gray surface. Then he looks back at you, his eyes burning with a cold fire. You came here seeking the cause of your world's sickness. You stand in the court of the one God who holds all others to their word. So I will tell you, the one who violated the pact, the one whose arrogance has shattered the great wheel, is the one who believes all laws apply to others, but not to himself. The implication is monstrous, an accusation of cosmic treason. And as the weight of his words settles in the vast silent hall, a single terrifying question remains. A question you are almost too afraid to have answered. Who is the one God so powerful and so arrogant that he would dare to break a foundational oath and risk the unraveling of reality itself? Word count, 1,100 awaiting continue. You stand frozen before the obsidian throne, the silence of the great hall pressing in on you. The air crackles with the weight of Hades' unspoken accusation. There is only one God in the pantheon who fits the description, a ruler so powerful, so accustomed to his own authority, that he might believe himself above the most fundamental laws of the cosmos. The king on his sun-drenched mountain, the lord of the sky, Zeus. Hades speaks the name, and it lands in the silence like a block of granite. Zeus. The name is not spoken with hatred or jealousy, but with the cold, hard finality of a judge delivering a verdict. My brother. He rises from his throne, a towering figure of dark majesty. He is taller than you imagined, his presence filling the space around him. The Biden in his hand seems to hum with a low, contained power. He has always been careless with his promises, Hades says, his voice a low monologue of frustration, as if he is finally venting a grievance held for millennia. His oaths to mortals are fleeting, his vows to goddesses broken as easily as they are made. His reign is a history of indulgence and impulse, but this was not a promise to a mortal maiden or a rival god. This was an oath sworn on the river Styx itself, foundational pact that holds the architecture of our world together. He begins to pace before his throne, his steps silent on the polished floor. For centuries, he has taken heroic souls from Elysium, his favored children, his demigod offspring, and sent them back to the world of the living, not as part of the cycle, but as a violation of it. He pulls them from their earned rest, their memories not wiped clean by Lethea, but preserved. He sends them back as kings, as prophets, as champions, to meddle in the affairs of mortals and secure his own legacy. He has been treating the souls of the dead as his personal chess pieces. This is a stunning revelation, a glimpse into the corrupt politics of the divine. While Hades presides over a kingdom of perfect, impartial justice, Zeus has been running a clandestine operation, a cosmic patronage system, recycling his favorite heroes to bolster his own power on Earth. It is an act of supreme arrogance and selfishness. Each time he did it, Hades continues, his voice tight with controlled anger, he tipped the scales. For a long time, the system could absorb the imbalance. The great wheel had enough momentum, but he grew bolder. The number of reborn souls he funneled back into the world began to grow. A trickle became a stream, the stream a river. Now the river has become a flood. The world above is glutted with these twice-born souls, these unnatural lives, and the door to my kingdom has been forced shut by the pressure. There is no room for the newly dead to enter, because the world above is too full of those who should have remained here. He stops pacing and turns to face you, his eyes burning with a cold black fire. The plague you witness is not a sickness, it is a symptom. It is the groan of a system strained to the breaking point. The living cannot die because there is simply nowhere for them to go. You finally find your voice, though it is thin and trembles in the vast, silent hall. But why? Why would he risk everything for this? For pride? For vanity? Hades lets out a short, mirthless laugh. You still think like a mortal? You think in terms of motive? Zeus thinks in terms of power? He does not see the risk. He sees only his will. It's in his mind. The cosmos is not a balanced system. It is a pyramid with him at its apex. He believes his will, is the law. He gestures with the Biden toward the endless shelves of glowing crystals. This archive is my proof. It's every oath, every promise. His is here among them, a vow sworn in the dawn of time, glowing with the dark, cold light of the Styx. He has forgotten it. He, in his sunlit world of endless distractions and sycophants, has forgotten the promise he made in darkness. But I have not. I forget nothing. He has laid it all bare. The cause of the plague is the broken oath, the culprit. You have the truth you came for. But the truth is useless. What can you, a single mortal, do with this knowledge? How can this revelation possibly solve the crisis unfolding in the world above? You came here seeking a solution, but all you have found is a problem of such cosmic scale that it is beyond any mortal comprehension or influence. You have journeyed to the heart of all ancient mysteries, only to find a truth that is as magnificent as it is powerless to help you. You stand before the Lord of the dead, the weight of this terrible knowledge crushing you. You have had your audience with the king. But as you look upon his stern, implacable face, you realize the audience is not yet over. He did not summon you here just to vent his frustrations. He has a purpose for you. And a new, cold dread begins to creep into your heart as you ask yourself the inevitable question. What role does the king of the underworld expect a lone mortal to play in a legal dispute between gods? Word count. 1093 awaiting continue. You are my witness, Hades states, his voice leaving no room for argument. The words hang in the silent hall, heavy with implication. You are not a petitioner. You are not an ally. We're a piece of evidence. You, a mortal, have seen the consequence of this broken oath. You have felt the chill of the undeparted. You have walked the paths of my realm. And you have heard the truth from my lips. Your soul is now inscribed with this knowledge. You are a living testament to my brother's crime. He takes a step toward you, and the sheer force of his presence makes you want to retreat, but your feet are rooted to the spot. I cannot act against him directly, Hades explains, his voice a low, pragmatic growl. An open war between the Lord of the Sky and the Lord of the Underworld would tear the cosmos apart. It would be a cataclysm from which reality might never recover. The Olympians would choose sides. The Titans in Tartarus would be roused by the chaos, and the mortal world would be the battlefield. It is an unthinkable price. He is not speaking of a war of armies, but a war of fundamental forces. A conflict between the principles of life and death, of beginning and end. My power, he continues, gesturing again to the archive, is in the law, in the binding nature of oaths. I do not rule by force, but by contract. My brother has forgotten this. I must remind him. He turns and walks back to his throne, sitting down with a regal weariness. The plague in your world is a message. It is the universe itself crying out that the system is broken. But Zeus is deaf to it. He is insulated by his power, surrounded by those who tell him only what he wants to hear. He must be made to see the truth, not through a declaration of war, but through a trial. A trial. The concept is staggering. To put the king of the gods on trial. How? You whisper, the question barely audible. Hades looks at you, his dark eyes holding a flicker of something that might be grim satisfaction. There is an ancient law, older than our reign, a protocol for resolving disputes among the three brothers. When a foundational oath is violated, the aggrieved party may summon a tribunal. A neutral arbiter whose judgment is absolute and binding upon all, even Zeus himself. A witness must be present, a being untainted by the politics of the gods, who can attest to the worldly consequences of the crime. That mortal is you. He is laying out a legal strategy of cosmic proportions. This entire journey, the oath at the altar, the passage across the Acheron, the glimpses into the three realms, has been your deposition. You have been gathering evidence for the most important court case in the history of creation. You're not just a witness to the truth. You are the living proof of its impact. And who, you ask, your mind reeling, is the arbiter? Who can possibly sit in judgment over Zeus? A rare, cold smile touches Hades' lips. Not a who, a what. We will call upon the ultimate judges. It's the ones who were there before us, and who will be there after we are gone. The spinners of fate, the weavers of destiny. The Moyer, the fates. Clotho, the spinner of the thread of life. Lachesis, the measurer of its length. And Atropos, the cutter. They are not gods in the Olympian sense. They are primal forces, embodiments of the inescapable reality of cause and effect. Even Zeus is subject to their decrees. It is a known quirk of the Greek pantheon that while Zeus is the most powerful of the deities, he is not omnipotent. He cannot defy a fate that has been woven. To summon them is to invoke the highest court in the universe. They'll be summoned here, Hades declares, his voice resonating with power. To my court. the one place in the cosmos where the truth is stripped bare and all beings are subject to the same law. They will examine the oath, they will examine my evidence, and they will examine my brother's actions. And you, mortal, will stand before them and tell them what you have seen. The sheer audacity of the plan is terrifying. You, a single, insignificant human, are to be the star witness in a trial against the king of the gods, with the fates themselves as the judges. It is a role you never could have imagined, a burden you cannot possibly bear, but you have no choice. Your own oath, sworn in blood and will, binds you to this purpose. You swore to seek the truth, and now you have found it. Your journey is no longer about understanding, it is about testifying. Hades leans back on his throne, his part in the explanation seemingly over. He has revealed the crime, the criminal, the legal precedent, and the judges. He has laid his entire plan before you. And as you stand there, crushed by the weight of your new role, a chilling question floods your mind, a question of immediate, terrifying relevance. What happens to a mortal witness when they are no longer needed by a god who deals only in absolutes? Word count, 1083, awaiting continue. Hades gives a subtle, almost imperceptible nod. In response, a low, guttural hum fills the chamber, vibrating up from the obsidian floor. The very air begins to shimmer and distort, not with heat, but with a strange temporal energy. Before the throne, the fabric of reality itself seems to part like a curtain, opening a swirling gray vortex of pure potential. From this vortex, 3 figures emerge, stepping into the throne room as if walking from one room to another. The Moirai, the Fates. They are not as the poets describe them. They are not old crones or beautiful maidens. They are beyond such mortal concepts as age or appearance. They are beings of pure function. Clotho, the spinner, is a whirlwind of motion, her hands a blur as she constantly draws a shimmering, ethereal thread from the vortex behind her. The thread is the very stuff of life, glowing with a faint internal light. Lachesis, the measurer, is a figure of perfect stillness, her form tall and geometric. In her hands, she holds a rod of polished, dark wood, against which she measures the length of the thread that flows from her sister's hands. And then there is Atropos, the unturnable. She is a shadow, a void in the shape of a woman, and in her hand she holds a pair of shears, not of metal, but of crystallized darkness that snip the air with a chilling, final sound. They do not speak. Their communication is a series of clicks and whistles, a sonic language that predates mortal speech, understood only by the oldest of the *** deities, ***. Hades rises from his throne and bows his head, a gesture of profound respect. He is a king, but they are the law he serves. He begins to speak, but his words are not for you. He speaks in that same ancient clicking language, presenting his case. As he speaks, he gestures toward you, and you feel the gaze of the 3 fates fall upon you. Clotho's spinning slows for a moment as she regards the thread of your own life. Lachesis' measuring rod wavers slightly, and Atropos. The shadow of Atropos seems to lean toward you, her shears glinting in the non-light of the hall. To be seen by them is to feel the entire arc of your existence, from birth to death, laid bare and assessed in a single, terrifying instant. Hades finishes his presentation. He then points the bidon at a specific spot on the endless shelves of the archive. A single crystalline tablet detaches itself from the shelf and floats through the air, coming to rest in Lachesis' outstretched hand. It is the oath of Zeus, the foundational pact of the cosmos. Lachesis holds it up, and the 3 of them examine the shimmering, moving images within it. A low, rapid series of clicks passes between them. They are reading the contract. Suddenly, the air in the throne room changes. It grows heavy, charged with ozone, and the scent of a distant storm fills your nostrils. A brilliant, blinding flash of white light erupts in the center of the hall, forcing you to shield your eyes. When the light recedes, a new figure stands there, radiating an aura of immense power and indignation. Zeus. He is the perfect opposite of his brother. Where Hades is dark, silent, and contained, Zeus is a being of brilliant light, crackling energy and unrestrained emotion. He is clad in armor of gleaming gold, and a short, powerful thunderbolt, buzzing with contained lightning, is held loosely in his hand. His face is handsome, regal, and currently contorted in a mask of pure fury. "Brother," he booms, his voice the sound of a thunderclap echoing in the enclosed space. "What is the meaning of this? You summoned me to this lightless pit like a common criminal? Have you forgotten who I am?" Hades does not flinch. He remains standing by his throne, a pillar of cold, calm authority. "I have forgotten nothing, brother," he says, his voice dangerously quiet. It is you who have forgotten. You have forgotten this. He gestures toward the glowing tablet in Lachesis' hand. Zeus's gaze falls upon the fates in the tablet they hold. For the first time, a flicker of uncertainty, of dawning realization crosses his face. He knows what they are. He knows what they represent. His blustering anger begins to recede, replaced by a sullen, defensive posture. An old pact, Zeus scoffs, attempting to regain his bluster. A trifle. A detail of administration from the dawn of time. The world has changed. My judgment, my will, must be flexible to meet the needs of the age. Atropos, the silent shadow, takes a single step forward. She holds up her shears of crystallized darkness and makes a single, sharp snipping motion in the air. The sound is small, but it cuts through Zeus's booming voice and silences him instantly. The gesture is a clear and terrifying reminder. No matter how powerful he is, his own thread is still subject to her cut. This is the ultimate check on his power. A historical point of theological debate among ancient Greek philosophers: is the will of Zeus supreme, or is he too a subject of fate? Here, in this throne room, the answer is brutally clear. Lachesis holds up the tablet. The images within it glow brighter, projecting into the air for all to see. You see the three young gods, fresh from their victory over the Titans, drawing lots for the world. You see them swearing the oath, their hands clasped, their voices ringing with the power of the Styx. You see the clause, clear and undeniable, the law of balance, the pact to limit the number of reborn souls. You see Zeus's face, earnest and solemn as he makes the vow. And then, the projection shifts. It shows a montage of souls, asterisk, asterisk, heroes, asterisk, asterisk, you recognize from legend, being pulled from Elysium, their memories intact, and sent back to the world above on the command of Zeus. The evidence is irrefutable. The crime is laid bare. Zeus watches, his face a storm of conflicting emotions, anger, embarrassment, and the dawning horror of being caught in a flagrant violation of a sacred law. He has been ambushed, not by an army, but by a legal document and an unimpeachable judge. His power, his thunderbolts, his authority, they are all useless here. He is trapped by the one thing he could never control, the truth. Da 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 da. As the projected images fade, a heavy, expectant silence falls over the hall. The evidence has been presented, the accused has been converted. Now, all that remains is the verdict. But as you watch the king of the gods squirm under the silent judgment of the fates, a new and dreadful question arises. What punishment could possibly be severe enough for a god who broke the world? Word count: 1,100 awaiting continue. The silence in the obsidian hall is absolute. The fates stand impassively, their judgment formed, but not yet spoken. Zeus, for the first time in his long reign, looks small, his crackling energy subdued, his divine authority nullified by the stark, cold evidence of his transgression. He is no longer the king of the gods. He is a defendant in a court from which there is no appeal. Hades watches, his expression unreadable, a pillar of grim satisfaction. He has not won a victory. He has enforced a contract. The three Moirai turn as one to face Zeus. They're clicking. Whistling language fills the hall, not with anger, but with the dry, passionless recitation of law and consequence. They are not sentencing him. They are explaining the verdict that his own actions have necessitated. Though you cannot understand the words, the meaning is clear from the reactions that play across Zeus's face: disbelief, followed by outrage, and finally, a grudging, horrified acceptance. Lachesis, the measurer, steps forward. She holds up the thread of a life knot, a mortal life, but a shimmering golden cord that pulses with divine energy. It is the life of one of the heroes Zeus sent back to the mortal world, a king who currently rules a powerful city-state, living his second life in glory. Atropos then moves, her shears of darkness glinting. With a swift final snip, she cuts the golden thread. In the world above, at that exact moment, a king seated on his throne, surrounded by his court, suddenly gasps, clutches his chest, and falls to the ground, dead. His second life, an illegal life, has been summarily terminated. Lachesis measures another thread. Atropos cuts, and another, and another. Silent, terrifying cold begins. The fates are not punishing Zeus. They are rebalancing the books. They are systematically revoking the illegal lives he created, one by one, to make room for the backlog of souls waiting to enter the underworld. They are fixing the plague at its source, performing a divine audit with brutal, dispassionate efficiency. This is the justice of the cosmos, cold, mathematical, and utterly devoid of mercy. Zeus watches, his face pale as the lives of his favorite children, his recycled champions, are extinguished. Each snip of Atropos' shears is a blow to his pride, a dismantling of his legacy. He's being forced to watch his grand strategy, his secret project, be unraveled thread by thread. Then, a new figure appears in the hall. A shimmering portal of light and speed opens, and a young, athletic god zips into the throne room, coming to a halt before Zeus. It is Hermes, the messenger, his winged sandals fluttering with nervous energy. He looks panicked, his eyes wide with confusion. "Father," he says, his voice rushed. "Something is wrong. Kings and heroes are dying across the mortal world, spontaneously, without cause. The oracles are silent, the temples are in chaos. What is happening?" Hermes, the perpetual go-between, the one who travels freely between the mortal world, Olympus, and even the underworld, is caught completely off guard. He is the god of communication, but he has been left out of this, the most important communication of all. He is staring at the scene, his furious, silent father, his grim, implacable uncle. The terrifying figures of the fate's hand, he is slowly putting the pieces together. His usual glib confidence drains away, replaced by a dawning horror. He is trapped, a messenger caught in the crossfire of a silent war between the two most powerful deities, and his family. Hades speaks, his voice cutting through the tension. "Tell him, brother. Tell your favorite messenger what is happening. Explain to him the consequence of a broken promise." Zeus cannot meet Hermes' eyes. The shame of being exposed before his son, his loyal agent, is perhaps the cruelest part of the punishment. Hermes looks from Zeus to Hades, then to the fates, and finally at you, the lone mortal standing witness to this divine humiliation. His gaze lingers on you, full of questions you cannot answer. His dilemma is clear. His loyalty is to his father, the king of the gods. But the evidence of his father's guilt is undeniable. He is the agent of Zeus's will, but that will has just been declared illegal by the highest authority in the universe. Where do his loyalties lie now? To his father, or to the cosmic law his father has broken? The fates have paused their grim work. They have made their point. They have demonstrated their power and the consequences of the verdict. Now, they turn their attention back to Zeus himself. This is not the end of his punishment. Rebalancing the scales is only the first step. There must also be a personal cost. Price paid not by the world, but by the one who broke it. Clotho, the spinner, steps forward. She reaches out and plucks a thread not from the vortex of life, but from Zeus's own being. It is a shimmering, silver thread, not of life, but of memory. She hands it to Lachesis, who measures a specific length. Then, she hands it to Atropos. The dark shears are raised. They're not going to kill him. They are not going to strip him of his power. They are going to do something far more subtle and far more wounding to a god whose identity is built on his own history of conquests and glories. They are going to cut away a part of his past. As the shadow shears prepare to snip the thread of a divine memory, a final, terrible question forms in your mind. What specific memory could the fates choose to erase from Zeus's mind that would serve as the most fitting and painful punishment for his crime? Word count, 1,100 awaiting continue. The air in the throne room grows thick with anticipation. The shears of Atropos hover over the silver thread of Zeus's memory, a moment stretched into an eternity. What memory could possibly be a fitting punishment? The memory of a triumphant battle? The memory of a favored lover? Any of these would be a blow to his pride, but they would not address the core of his crime. The fate's justice is never arbitrary, is always perfectly, poetically symmetrical. Atropos snips the thread. The sound is almost inaudible, yet it echoes in the vast hall like a death knell. A flicker of confusion passes over Zeus's face, a momentary disorientation, as if he has forgotten what he was about to say. The change is subtle, almost unnoticeable, but Hades sees it. A slow, grim smile of understanding touches his lips. He knows exactly what memory was just taken. Hermes, ever perceptive, sees it too. He looks at his father, a dawning horror and pity in his eyes. He understands the exquisite, devastating precision of the fate's judgment. They did not take a memory of glory. They did not take a memory of love. They took the memory of the oath itself. Zeus no longer remembers swearing the pact at the dawn of time. He no longer recalls drawing lots with his brothers, or making the sacred vow upon the river Styx that bound him to the law of balance. From his perspective, the fates have simply appeared, sided with his door brother, and begun dismantling his life's work for no discernible reason. His crime has been erased from his own mind, but the punishment remains. He is left with the consequences, but not the cause. It is a punishment of supreme irony. He who forgot his promise is now condemned to be eternally baffled by its enforcement. He can no longer see his actions as a violation, only as his rightful will being unjustly thwarted. His arrogance has not been cured. It has been cemented, transformed into a permanent, festering grievance. He is trapped forever in a state of righteous indignation, unable to comprehend the true nature of his own wrongdoing. He is condemned to see Hades, not as a wronged party, but as a rival who somehow cheated him, who won a game he didn't even know he was playing. The rift between the two brothers has not been healed. It has been made permanent and incomprehensible, at least from one side. What is this sorcery? Zeus bellows, his voice shaking with a rage born of pure confusion. What trickery have you conspired with, brother? You turn these hags against me, you murder my children, and for what, an old grudge? Hades simply looks at him, his expression a mixture of pity and contempt. There is nothing to say. How can you argue with someone who cannot remember the premise of the argument? The trial is over. Justice has been served, but it is a strange, hollow justice that brings no peace, only a new, colder state of conflict. At this moment, another presence enters the hall. It is Persephone returned from her garden. She glides to her husband's side, her expression serene, but her eyes filled with a deep sorrow. She places a hand on Hades' arm, a silent gesture of support. She, who understands the full cycle of life, death, and memory, comprehends the terrible, permanent nature of this verdict more than anyone. She knows that the balance has been restored, but the family has been irrevocably broken. It is done, she says softly, her voice meant for Hades alone. He nods, his gaze still locked on his blustering, confused brother. It is done. The fates begin to recede, their work complete. The gray vortex from which they came reopens, and they step back into it, their forms dissolving into the mists of time. They leave behind a changed world. The plague of the living is over. The great wheel of life and death will begin to turn again. The souls of the unjustly slain heroes have been returned to their rightful rest. Balance has been restored. But the price was the sanity and memory of a king and the fracturing of the divine family. Zeus, still fuming with a rage he no longer understands, turns to Hermes. "We are leaving this cursed place," he snarls. Thus, he raises his thunderbolt, and with a blinding flash of light and a deafening crack of thunder, they are both gone. You are left alone in the silent hall with the king and queen of the underworld. The great drama is over. You, the mortal witness, have played your part. The tension drains from the room, leaving behind a profound exhaustion. You feel the weight of everything you have seen, a burden too heavy for a mortal mind to bear. Hades turns his gaze to you. His face is weary, the lines of care etched deeper than before. He has won, but it is a bitter victory. You've served your purpose, mortal, he says, his voice flat. The oath you swore is fulfilled. The words are a dismissal, a finality. Your role is over. And as you stand before the absolute ruler of the realm of the dead, the most pressing question of your entire journey returns with terrifying force. Now that your testimony is no longer needed, what is to become of you? Word count 1099 awaiting continue. You stand before the obsidian throne, your purpose fulfilled, your future a terrifying blank. You have witnessed a cosmic trial, seen the humiliation of the king of the gods, and played your part in rebalancing the universe. But you are still a mortal in the land of the dead, a living anomaly in a realm of finality. The oath that protected you, that gave you passage and purpose, is now discharged. You are defenseless, subject to the laws of this place like any other soul. And the law is clear. The living do not belong here. Hades regards you with his cold, inscrutable eyes. You expect a summary judgment, a swift and final end. Perhaps a command to drink from the lethe, erasing the memory of this day and your own identity along with it. Or a simple, chilling gesture that would snuff out your life and send your new shade shuffling off to asphodel. You have served his needs, and now you are a loose end, a mortal who knows too much. It is Persephone who speaks, her voice a soft counterpoint to the hall's oppressive silence. He cannot simply return to the world above, my husband. He has seen too much. The knowledge he carries is not for mortals. It would break him, or worse, it would make him a prophet of truths no one is meant to hear. It would be a source of chaos. She is right. You can feel it. It's the things you have seen, the cosmic secrets you now know, they have changed you. You could never go back to your old life. The world of mortals, with its petty concerns and small dramas, would seem like a meaningless charade. The weight of this knowledge would crush your sanity. Hades nods slowly, considering his wife's words. He looks at you, and for the first time, you see something other than cold authority in his eyes. It is not pity, but a kind of professional respect. You fulfilled your side of a contract. You were a reliable instrument. She is correct, he says. You cannot go back as you are. But to kill you now, after you have served me faithfully, that would be an injustice. And I am not my brother. I do not discard my tools so carelessly. He is bound by his own nature, by the very principles of fairness that you have seen govern his entire realm. He cannot reward you, you are immortal, and this is not a place of rewards, but he cannot punish you without cause. You are a paradox, a legal problem for the god of laws to solve. He turns and speaks to Persephone in a low voice, a quiet debate between the two rulers of the underworld. You cannot hear the words, but you see the dynamic between them. He, the god of absolute rigid law. She, the goddess of cycles, of transitions, of the spaces between the rules. He sees you as a legal conundrum. She sees you as a soul in transition. After a long moment, Hades turns back to you. We have reached a decision, he announces. You will not be killed. You will not be sent to Asphodel. Your service has earned you something more. But you cannot remain in the world of the living, nor can you reside in the world of the dead. Must exist in the space between. He raises the bident, its twin prongs gleaming with a cold gray light. I will offer you a new role, a new purpose. The position is, it's vacant. He taps the base of the bident on the obsidian floor. The sound is a deep, resonant chime that echoes through the hall. In response, a figure emerges from the shadows near the entrance to the great archive. It is the shade of the ancient hero, the one who chose to serve at the crossroads rather than accept the peace of Elysium. He walks forward and bows his head, first to Hades and Persephone, and then, to your astonishment, to you. My watch is over, the hero's shade says, his voice filled with a profound weariness and relief. I have served my term, I've guided the lost and witnessed the turning of the ages. Now I have earned my rest. He looks at you, his eyes filled with a strange, sad understanding. The burden is now yours if you accept it. With that, his form begins to glow with a soft golden light. The weariness falls away from him, replaced by a look of serene peace. He turns and walks away, not toward Asphodel, but toward the distant, shimmering path that leads to the fields of Elysium. He has finally accepted his reward. Hades looks at you, the guardian of the crossroads, a guide for the lost souls who arrive at the shores of my kingdom with a purpose that transcends their judgment. A watcher, a listener, a position of honor and solitude. You will forget your mortal life, your name, your pains, but you will retain the knowledge you have gained here. You will become a part of this place, a function of its laws, neither living nor dead, but an eternal servant of the balance. It is an offer of a living death, an eternity of service in the twilight of the underworld. You would lose everything that made you human, but you would gain a new, permanent identity as a part of the cosmic machinery. It is a grim fate, but it is also a position of immense trust, a role given only to the most respected of souls. It is an honor, a terrible, lonely honor. You have no real choice. The alternative is oblivion. You nod your head, a single, slow gesture of acceptance. It is done, Hades says. He points the bident at you. A single beam of cold gray light shoots from its tip and strikes you in the chest. It is not painful. It is a profound and absolute cold that seeps into every fiber of your being, extinguishing the last embers of your mortal life, your warmth, your desires, your name. Everything that was you dissolves, replaced by a calm, cool, eternal sense of purpose. You are no longer a man, you're a guardian. As your transformation completes, you look upon the king and queen of the underworld, not as a mortal subject, but as a fellow functionary of the realm. A final question echoes in the silent space where your human thoughts used to be. Have you been rewarded for your service? Or have you just received the most creative and inescapable life sentence ever devised? Word count. 1,100 awaiting continue. You are no longer you. The being that was a mortal pilgrim, a man driven by desperation and a thirst for truth, is gone. That consciousness has been extinguished, replaced by something vast, cold, and eternal. You are the guardian, and from your new perspective, the Obsidian Palace is not a fortress of shadow, but a nexus of perfect, crystalline logic. The endless archive of oaths is no longer a silent library. It is a living database you can perceive in its entirety. A shimmering network of cosmic obligations. See the faint light of your own fulfilled oath flicker and go dark. Its contract satisfied, its energy reabsorbed into the system. Hades and Persephone stand before you, no longer as terrifying, all-powerful asterisk deities, but as your sovereigns, the ultimate administrators of the realm you now serve. You are a part of their government now. Hades looks not at you, but through you, addressing the function you now embody. His voice is the final stamp on the events you have witnessed, a declaration not for the benefit of a court, but for the annals of cosmic law. Let the judgment be recorded, he proclaims, his voice resonating through the hall, each word etching itself into the very fabric of the place. The king of Olympus, my brother Zeus, has been found in violation of a foundational pact sworn upon the Styx. The balance of the world, which he upset through arrogance and folly, has been restored by the will of the Moirai. His illegally reborn asterisk have been recalled to their earned rest. This is the rebalancing of the scales. He pauses, allowing the weight of that decree to settle. This is the verdict that shakes Olympus not, a declaration of war, but a cold legal precedent that forever diminishes the authority of its king. Zeus is no longer above the law. He is now a cautionary tale within it, but a debt remains. Hades continues, his voice dropping, and here he reveals the final secret codicil to the fate's judgment, the true cost imposed upon the king of the gods. For his transgression, a tithe is now levied. Henceforth, for all eternity, a 10th part of the energy from every sacrifice, every prayer, every hymn of praise offered to Zeus in the mortal world shall be siphoned directly to the treasury of my realm. This is the true, bizarre genius of the punishment. Zeus's power is derived from the worship of mortals. Now, that very worship will eternally enrich the brother he scorns. Every prayer meant to glorify him will also serve as a payment on an unpayable debt, a constant, humiliating reminder of his defeat in this court of absolute law. Hades' title of Plauton, the wealthy one, has just been given a new, deeper meaning. He does not just own the mineral wealth of the earth, he now owns a percentage of his brother's divine glory. Persephone places a hand on your shoulder. Her touch is not warm, but it is not cold either. It is a touch of pure neutrality, of transition. Come, guardian, she says. Your post awaits. She leads you from the throne room, back through the silent palace. As you walk, your new consciousness accesses the echoes of this place. Perceive the faint, sorrowful trace of another mortal who once stood in this hall. A musician, Orpheus, who tried to bargain with love and grief. You feel the ghost of his beautiful, useless song, a plea of emotion dashed against the unyielding rock of law. His story is one of the most famous of all descents. A classic tale of Greek mythology, a catabasis that ended in failure because he broke the one condition given to him. You understand now why he failed? He offered a song when the king demanded adherence to a contract. You, on the other hand, came as part of a legal proceeding. You succeeded where the great artist failed because you understood or were forced to understand that this is a kingdom of rules, not feelings. You walk the paths of the underworld in reverse, but the landscape looks different to your new eyes. The fields of Elysium are a pleasant but distant glow. The asphodel meadows a gray sea of static you can now ignore. You arrive once more at the great crossroads behind the gates of Cerberus. The three paths to Tartarus, Asphodem, and Elysium stretch before you, no longer as destinations, but as the districts of your new precinct. The black sand shore is your border. Persephone turns to you, her expression serene. This is your watch. You will see all who come. You will guide those who are lost. You will be the first voice of reason they hear in the land of the dead. It is a great and terrible honor. She fades away like mist, returning to her garden of memories, leaving you to your eternal duty. You stand at the center of everything, a silent, sleepless sentinel at the nexus of all mortal destinies. The air is still, the silence is profound, and then you hear it. A faint, shuffling sound. The scrape of a foot on the black sand. Soul is approaching. Your first client, your watch has begun. And the first question of your eternal existence hangs in the twilight. Whose eternity will you be the first to define? Word count. 1099 awaiting continue. You do not turn. You do not need to. Your perception is no longer limited to the crude mechanics of eyes and ears. You are aware of the approaching soul in its entirety. You feel the texture of its existence, the weight of its deeds, the shape of its regrets. It is a new arrival, fresh from Charon's barge, still dazed and disoriented by the transition from life to death. It is the soul of a woman, and she is heavy. Not with evil, not with a kind of monstrous sin that would drag her down to Tartarus, but with the dense, leaden weight of profound arrogance. She solidifies before you, her spectral form still clinging to the memory of her mortal grandeur. She was a queen in the world above, a ruler of a wealthy port city. Her shade is draped in the phantom image of fine silks and heavy gold jewelry. Her expression, even in death, is one of imperious expectation. She does not see you as a guardian, but as a functionary, a servant to be addressed. She says, her voice retaining the sharp edge of command she wielded in life. Which way to the fields of the blessed? I've been a great patron of the arts, a builder of temples. My poets sang my praises. Surely my place is with the heroes. You perceive the truth of her life. She did build temples, but they were monuments to her own glory, their altars bearing her own profile next to those of the deities. She was a patron of the arts, but she imprisoned any artist whose work did not flatter her sufficiently. But her prosperity was built on ruthless taxation and brutal trade practices that impoverished the surrounding lands. Her life was a monument to self-interest, a towering edifice of pride. The path to Elysium to your right glows faintly, its gentle, upward slope, an invitation she cannot accept. She tries to take a step toward it, but her soul is too heavy. Invisible gravity holds her in place. The path to Tartarus to your left hums with its low, angry energy, but she is not wicked enough for its depths. She is destined for the great gray road straight ahead, the Asphodel Meadows. An eternity of being a nameless face in a shuffling crowd, a queen reduced to a forgotten whisper. For a soul so defined by its own importance, this is a fate worse than any fiery punishment. You feel a flicker of something, an echo of the pity the mortal you once were might have felt. But you are not that mortal anymore. You are a function of the system. Your role is not to judge, but to clarify. Your place is not for you to choose, you say. Your voice is not your old voice. It is a new sound, calm and resonant as a bell, a voice of pure, dispassionate authority. It is determined by the weight you carry. The queen scoffs, a gesture of pure ingrained arrogance. Wait, I am a queen? Am as light as air? This is your function. Not to argue, but to reveal. You raise a hand, and from the black sand at her feet, a shimmering image arises. It is a memory, her own memory, but shown with the cold, objective clarity of the underworld. It is the memory of her signing a decree that diverted a river to irrigate her own private gardens, causing a famine in a village downstream. She sees the faces of the starving children, faces she never saw or chose to ignore in life. The memory is not an accusation, it is a fact, and it is heavy. She stumbles back, her spectral form flickering. The image fades, replaced by another. The artist she had thrown in a dungeon, his hands broken so he could never create again. The memory is a lead weight. Another image. A whispered promise of aid to a neighboring city. A promise she broke the moment it became inconvenient. The memory is a block of stone. One by one, you show her the true weight of her life. Not as she remembered it, a glorious narrative of success, but as it was recorded in the great archive of truth. Each action, each choice, each broken promise adds to the burden she carries. Her phantom silks and jewels dissolve, replaced by the weight of her own deeds. She is no longer a queen, she is just a soul, heavy with the consequences of a life lived for herself alone. She looks at the path to Elysium, and it seems 1,000,000 miles away, an impossible climb. She looks at the path to Asphodel, and she sees her future, an eternity of insignificance. A sob racks her spectral form, a sound of pure, horrified despair. The pride that defined her has been shattered against the undeniable truth of her own soul. There must be a price, she whispers, her voice now broken and pleading. A penance, a task, something I can do to unburden myself. This is the moment of truth, the core of your new existence. You are a guardian, a guide. Is there a path to redemption? Or is justice here simply a final, immutable sentencing? You access the deep laws of this place, the asterisk ancient mysteries, that govern the kingdom of Hades. There is no mercy, but there is balance. Debt can be paid. There is a price, you say, your voice echoing the grim finality of your king. But it is not a price you are likely willing to pay. You present her with the choice. A law as old as the underworld itself. A quirk of its justice system known only to the deepest initiates. She can accept her fate in Asphodel. Or she can choose to enter the service of Tartarus, not as a prisoner, but as a tender of the punished. She can spend an eon easing the torment of a soul whose crimes were greater than her own. In shouldering another's punishment, she might, over the course of millennia, lighten her own load. It is a choice between a meaningless eternity and a meaningful one spent in hell. From the gray, hopeless road of Asphodel to the fiery, terrible maw of Tartarus. For the first time since she died, she is faced with a true choice, a choice that will define her eternity. As she struggles with this impossible decision, a new, chilling question hangs in the air. A question that will define your own eternal service. How many souls, when faced with the absolute truth of themselves, will choose the harder path? Word count: 1,100 awaiting continue. The queen stands paralyzed, the two eternities laid bare before her. To her left, the sulphurous heat and distant screams of Tartarus, promise purpose through suffering. Straight ahead, the gray, featureless path to Asphodel offers an oblivion of self, a slow fading into nothingness. Her arrogance, the bedrock of her identity, has been shattered, leaving behind a terrified, naked soul. For a being who spent her entire mortal life avoiding consequences, this choice is the ultimate consequence. You do not rush her. Time is a concept that belongs to the world you have left behind. Here, there is only the slow, inexorable turning of the cosmic gears. You are a patient sentinel, a fixed point in the swirling chaos of newly arrived souls. Your function is to present the truth, not to compel the verdict. The choice must be hers, born of the last vestiges of her free will. She looks toward Asphodel, and her spectral form shudders. The thought of being no one, of her grand life, amounting to an eternity of shuffling in a silent gray crowd, is a horror her pride cannot withstand. Even in its shattered state, her ego rebels against the idea of insignificance, then turns her gaze to the dark, descending path to Tartarus. It is a future of unimaginable horror, of proximity to the greatest torments ever devised. But it is a future with a purpose. It is a role. It is a way to be something, even if that something is a servant in hell. I choose Tartarus, she whispers, the words catching in her throat, a final, painful surrender of her queenly status. I will pay the price. A flicker of something akin to respect passes through your new consciousness. It is a rare choice. Most souls, when faced with the blandness of Asphodel, accept it with a sigh of resignation. To choose active suffering over passive nothingness requires a spark of the same fire that made her a queen in the first place. Now, redirected from pride to penance, you give a single, solemn nod. As you do, the ground before the Tartarian path shifts. A figure rises from the rock, a being of shadow and chains, one of the ancient wardens of the pit. It extends a manacled hand toward the queen. She flinches, but does not retreat. She takes the hand, and the warden leads her down into the darkness, to begin her long, terrible service. She has made her choice. Her eternity is now defined. As she disappears, you feel the seamless, perfect logic of your king's domain. It is a system designed not just for judgment, but for the revelation of a soul's true nature. Hades does not offer mercy, he offers clarity. And in that clarity, souls are given a final opportunity to define themselves. You understand now that the wealth of Hades, the true meaning of the name Plauton is not the gold or gems in the earth. It is this, the inexhaustible trove of souls revealing their final, essential character. This kingdom is the ultimate refiner's fire, burning away all that is false until only the pure, unvarnished truth of a being remains. Your attention is drawn to a new arrival. Another soul stands before you, having just separated from the dazed crowd crossing the black sands. This one is different. It is light. So light, it barely seems to touch the ground. It is the soul of an old man, a humble woodcutter from a remote mountain village. In life, he was poor, unknown, and unimportant. His shade is thin, almost transparent, clad in the phantom image of his simple patched tunic. He looks at the three paths with a gentle, curious confusion, his face a mask of peaceful acceptance. The path to Elysium on his right glows with a warm, welcoming light, its ethereal music swelling slightly as if in greeting. The path is calling to him. He is one of the righteous, a soul so light with virtue that it naturally floats toward the fields of the blessed. He sees you, the guardian, and gives a simple, respectful bow. "Excuse me, sir," he says, his voice soft and raspy, like the wind in the pines he knew so well. "I seem to be a little lost. Can you tell me where I am to go?" You perceive his life in a single, quiet flash. A life of small, unrecorded kindnesses. He shared his meager food with hungry travelers. He replanted a tree for everyone he cut down. He spent his evenings telling stories to the village children, stories not of great heroes or warring deities but of the quiet wisdom of the forest. He never swore an oath he didn't keep, never took a coin that wasn't freely given. His life was a silent symphony of simple goodness. He is the polar opposite of the queen who preceded him. The path to your right is your destination, you say, your resonant voice softening almost imperceptibly.
It is your earned reward.
The old man looks toward Elysium, at the golden light and the distant, happy shades. A beautiful, serene smile lights up his face. "It looks peaceful," he says. Then he hesitates. He looks back at the great gray road to Asphodel, at the endless, shuffling procession of the lonely and the lost. He sees their downcast faces, their aimless wandering, and them, he asks, gesturing toward the melancholy crowd. Where are they going? They go to the meadows of asphodel, you reply. The realm of the indifferent. The old man's smile fades, replaced by a look of profound compassion. He watches the sad, silent river of souls for a long time. And do they have anyone to talk to? He asks softly. Anyone to tell them a story? The question is so simple, so pure, it momentarily disrupts the cold, perfect logic of your new consciousness. It is a question no one has ever asked before. No soul in the history of this crossroads has ever shown concern for the fate of others. They are consumed by their own judgment, their own fear, their own relief. The old woodcutter turns away from the golden light of Elysium. He takes a single, hesitant step toward the gray, hopeless path of asphodel. Perhaps, he says, more to himself than to you, perhaps someone should go with them. It seems a lonely road to walk. He is offering to refuse paradise, to trade an eternity of bliss for an eternity of thankless compassion in the grayest, most sorrowful corner of the cosmos. He is making a choice that defies the very logic of reward and punishment. And you, the guardian, are faced with a question that the laws of this kingdom have no answer for. What do you do with a soul so good, so pure that it breaks the system through an act of selfless love? Word count. 1,100 awaiting continue. The old woodcutter's offer hangs in the silent air, a paradox that challenges the very foundations of this realm. The system is designed for justice, for balance, for giving every soul exactly what it has earned, but it is not designed for grace. It has no protocol for a soul who willingly chooses a lesser fate out of pure, selfless compassion. You are the guardian, an enforcer of the rules, and you have just been presented with a situation that has no rule. You feel a ripple in the fabric of the underworld, a subtle disturbance that you now recognize as the direct attention of your king. From his obsidian throne miles away, Hades is watching this scene unfold. He, too, is confronted by this anomaly. The perfect logical machine of his kingdom has encountered a variable it cannot process. The old man takes another step toward the path to asphodel, his resolve firming. He is ready to trade his eternal reward for an eternity of comforting the lost. This single act of love is a force more powerful than any law of this kingdom. It is a quiet rebellion, not against the justice of the system, but against its coldness. Before you can speak, before you can even process the legal contradiction, a new light appears. It is not the angry hum of Tartarus or the golden glow of Elysium. It is a soft, silvery luminescence, and it emanates from the path to the asphodel meadows. Where the path was once gray and featureless, it now begins to shimmer. From the ground, small pale flowers begin to bloom, true asphodels, their petals like white stars in the gloom, each one pulsing with a gentle, hopeful light. They are not the memory-fed plants of Persephone's garden. They are something new, something unprecedented. The endless shuffling procession of the indifferent shades slows to a halt. They lift their heads, their vacant eyes drawn to the strange new light. The low, melancholy murmur that was their only sound fades, replaced by a questioning silence. For the first time in their timeless gray existence, something has changed. The old woodcutter stares in wonder at the blooming flowers. He has not even set foot on the path, yet his intention, the sheer purity of his compassion, has been enough to alter the very nature of the realm. He has introduced a new element into the eternal equation, hope. Then Persephone is there. She has not walked from the palace. She is simply manifested at the edge of the transformed path, a serene smile on her face. She is the queen of cycles, of growth, of the spaces between the rules, and this moment belongs to her. She turns to the old woodcutter, her eyes full of a warmth that is rare in this realm. Your compassion is a seed, good soul, she says, her voice like the chiming of crystal bells. And you have planted it in the most barren soil in all of creation. You have done something that even my husband in all his power could not. You have brought light to the place of shadows. She gestures to the field of glowing asphodels. This place will no longer be the meadows of indifference, will now be the meadows of remembrance. The souls here will no longer wander in a daze of regret. They will be given the chance to reflect, to understand, to find a quiet peace in the truth of the lives they lived. And you, she says, turning back to the woodcutter, will be their keeper. She is not offering him a choice. She is acknowledging a reality his choice has already created. He will not be a resident of asphodel. It will be its heart, its purpose. He will not be a hero in Elysium, resting on his laurels. He will be a quiet, working saint, his eternal task to wander the now-lit fields, telling his simple stories, reminding the forgotten souls of the small, lost kindnesses of their own lives. He's not being rewarded or punished. He's being utilized, his unique virtue put to its highest and best use. The old man weeps, his spectral tears, not tears of sorrow, but of overwhelming joy. He bows deeply to Persephone, and then turns and walks onto the path. As his foot touches the ground, the silvery light intensifies, spreading out across the vast plain, a gentle dawn in the land of eternal twilight. He has found his true paradise, not in the fields of the blessed, but in a field of his own making. You watch him go, and you finally understand the full scope of the kingdom you serve. It is a realm governed by two principles. There is the rigid, unshakable law of Hades, the justice of the scales, but there is also the subtle, transformative power of Persephone, the possibility of change, of growth, even in the finality of death. One is the skeleton of the realm, the other its heart. Together, they create a system not just of justice, but of profound, terrifying, and beautiful truth. The journey you began as a mortal is over. The plague is ended. The balance is restored. The divine order has been shaken and reset. You have found your place, a silent watcher at the center of it all. As you turn your attention back to the endless stream of souls arriving on the black sand shore, you feel a sense of peace. You are no longer a man, but you are a part of a great and meaningful design. You have finally come home. You have traveled to the depths of the underworld to find an answer, and in the process you have become part of it. The final question of your mortal journey has been answered. You now know why Hades was the most respected god. It was not because he was fair, it was because his kingdom, in its absolute, unyielding way, was the only place in the cosmos where a soul could truly find itself. Word count. 1,100 awaiting continue. Your perception expands, no longer anchored to the crossroads. You are the guardian, and your consciousness is woven into the fabric of the underworld itself. You are aware of the entire kingdom simultaneously, a silent, omniscient observer of the great turning wheel. You feel the change in the world above, not as a distant event, but as a shift in the very rhythm of the souls arriving at your shores. The frantic, desperate energy of the plague years has subsided, replaced by the steady, natural cadence of life and death, the normal, sorrowful procession of endings. The great machine is working again. You see Zeus on his golden throne on Olympus. He is restless, irritable, his power undiminished, but his spirit soured by a grievance he cannot name. He looks upon the world of mortals with a new sense of detachment. His grand project of recycling heroes forgotten, leaving a void in his divine ambitions. He is a king diminished, not in might, but in purpose, forever haunted by the shadow of a trial he does not remember losing. His relationship with his brother is a frozen landscape of cold, a formal necessity, the old rivalries now encased in a glacier of confused resentment. Yes. You see the newly dead heroes, the ones recalled by the fate's judgment, arriving in Elysium. They are confused, their second lives torn from them without warning. But as they drink from the waters of the Lethe, their brows unfurrow, their anger dissipates, and they embrace the peace they had already earned once before. They return to their endless games and debates, their illegal sojourn in the mortal world just a strange, fading dream. The fields of the blessed are whole again, their population restored to its rightful legal count. You see the queen in Asphodel, your first client? She is no longer a queen. She is a nameless tender, her eternity spent in the upper circles of Tartarus, bringing a cup of spectral water to a thirsty sinner, whispering a word of comfort to a soul in agony. Her task is horrific, endless, but in her face, you perceive the first flicker of something that is not pride, but purpose. In losing herself, she is beginning the slow, millennial journey of finding herself. And you see the old woodcutter. He wanders his meadows, which are no longer gray and silent, but shimmer with the gentle, silvery light of countless asphodel blooms. He sits with the shades of the forgotten, and he tells them his stories. He does not speak of gods or heroes, but of the way sunlight filters through the leaves of an ancient oak, of the satisfaction of a day's hard work, of the taste of fresh bread. And as he speaks, the shades listen. The vacant looks in their eyes are replaced by a glimmer of remembrance, faint echo of the small lost joys of their own simple lives. He is not saving them, but he is giving them back a piece of themselves. He has transformed the underworld's great waiting room into a place of quiet, gentle healing. You stand at your post, a silent, eternal sentinel. Your existence is a long, unbroken watch, punctuated by the arrival of each new soul. You are the first question and the final answer. You are the calm voice of reason in the face of oblivion. You have become a necessary, immutable part of the most feared and respected kingdom in all of creation. Your pilgrimage is over, but your service has just begun. You sought to understand the truth of the Lord of the Underworld, and you have become a living embodiment of his justice. You are the guardian of the final truth, that every life, no matter how grand or how humble, is a story that finds its true and final meaning only at its end. You now understand that Hades is the most respected god not because he is powerful or just, but because he is the great librarian of mortal souls, and his silent kingdom is the only place where every story is properly shelved. The story fades, the echoes of the underworld receding, leaving you once more in the quiet of your own space. The journey is over. The chill of the river Lethe gives way to the familiar warmth of your room. The silence of Hades' court is replaced by the gentle hum of the world around you. You have walked the paths of the dead and returned with the knowledge that our modern ideas of justice, of good and evil, are but pale reflections of these ancient, foundational concepts. The Greeks understood that true justice is not about punishment or reward. It is about balance, truth, and the undeniable weight of a life lived. It is a comforting and terrifying thought that in the end, we are all the authors of our own final judgment.